And the Bucks? Oh, they're fire. Those are nice. That's the company shit.
Yeah. So that's how we're starting the show with me showing off my purple pants.
Yeah, dude.
All right, we are back on another Wednesday. I'm back this week. Finally, not crazy sick and coughing, so I don't have to mute myself several times during the show. But got some interesting discussions to have today. It feels like the Badgers are really the only team that have like a full healthy week to discuss. Obviously, we knew what is happening with the Packers. So instead of doing 3 stars with the Packers today, we're going to do 3 takeaways. But we got Packers, Bucks, and Badgers to talk about today. So we're going to start with the Packers. What's up, Tim? We're going to start with the Packers. But before we start, got to give a congratulations to Eric Volrath, who won the Wisco Fanatics Fantasy Football League, and Christopher, who's helping out with the show here and there. For finishing second. So congrats to those two. But we're going to jump into the show. We're going to start with, instead of 3 stars, 3 takeaways. So, Jake, give me your first takeaway that you had from this Packers-Lions game.
So, first of all, welcome. Congratulations, everybody. Thank you for everybody for playing. It was a lot of last-minute stuff, and you guys really helped put that all together. My takeaways for the game, first and foremost, the most important thing that we've known for the last 15 years, Aaron Rodgers stayed healthy. Aaron Rodgers actually said that his toe is actually feeling good, and by the divisional game, it'll be 100%. Couple that with a lot of other things that are happening for the Packers. And, man, I don't know if we could put this, this is a golf reference. I don't know if we could put this ball on a tee much better than right now, man. I mean, this is really lining up to look like the Packers year. If they don't get to the Super Bowl, then we got some issues, man. But my first one is Rodgers staying healthy. That was the most important thing for me.
That was my third takeaway was no more injuries. So Packers didn't have. I mean, MVS's back is hurt. He didn't practice today, but they have another week and a half to get that figured out. And the only other injury, I guess you could say, is Lucas Patrick was put on the COVID list. Billy Turner and Jair were activated from the COVID list, so I would expect those two to be good to go. And then Zadarius Smith and Randall Cobb are practicing.
I know, dude.
They're not just doing individual workouts; they're practicing.
Next week's going to be in pads, I heard. So next week, this week's just kind of just a walkthrough. But next week will tell us a lot more about where everybody stands. We'll probably know where Jair and Zadarius are next week. So next week's show is going to be really interesting.
I said this in our group chat that with Zadarius returning to practice today, the Packers have 21 days to activate him now. The Packers play in 11 days. I mean, that's, I'm not necessarily saying he's going to be activated by the time they play their first playoff game, but if they advance, I could see him being there for that second game, if not for the first one. So he's trending in a great direction.
I definitely think the plan is for him to come back for that first game. He's going to be on a snap count. People are going to ask in the comments. So he's going to be used as a situational pass rusher. I mean, you get into a 2nd and 13, say you make a good play on first down. 2nd and 13, they're going to throw the ball. Zadarius is going in. 3rd and 7, 3rd and 6. You start getting into those rundowns. I don't know how his back's going to hold up. I don't think that he'll be in there for those, but definitely on pass rush downs.
Yeah.
And with Jair back, dude. And then we got the pick 6 king, Rasul Douglas.
Yes.
All these Rams fans are talking, and I hope that we get Mr. Pick 6, Matthew Stafford, coming to Lambeau, baby. Oh, it'll be very loud in my house that day. Very loud in my house.
Yeah, that's actually a really, really good point. Is obvious passing downs is a good place for Zadarius to be in. It's a lot easier for him a lot less stress on his back to be rushing a passer as opposed to trying to tackle a runner. Especially if it's potentially a Zeke or a Leonard Fournette or, whoever potentially the Packers end up facing. Obviously, like the 49ers like to run the ball like the Badgers, basically. It seems like they run the ball 60% of their plays.
They do.
They're always at the top of the league in rushing. But, yeah, I mean, the other thing I wanted to mention was Rodgers' toe. I mean, we haven't heard much about it at all. He, is not having any setbacks. He didn't get stepped on. So that was my third takeaway was no more injuries, and now guys are starting to come back. So what was your second takeaway?
My second takeaway was, just getting guys like Bakhtiari and Myers out there. and I've talked about the run game because I love the run game, right? I love the run game. I love being physical up front. But then you couple the run game with Rodgers getting an extra 2.5 seconds to throw the ball. Now you're really asking for trouble. And Randall Cobb's coming back.
Dude, I had this written down also at Bakhtiari and Myers playing time. Rodgers could have set up a campsite and had a 15-minute tea party back there with all the time he had to throw against the Lions the other day. That was crazy.
It really was, dude. I mean, like I said, you give Rodgers 2.5 more seconds, and he already destroys you when he doesn't have time, right? Like he can, okay, I see this guy, this guy's over here. They talk about it all the time on ESPN and Fox Sports 1. It just looks easy to Aaron Rodgers right now. That's the reason why I think that he's going to be MVP. Brady's out there throwing 200 more passes than Aaron Rodgers. Oh, he has 5,000 yards. Congratulations. Aaron Rodgers is making this shit look so easy. What's going on, Dan? How you doing, buddy? But this offensive line coming together, and I mean, Randall Cobb's going to be huge. People don't understand how big Randall Cobb is.
Especially if MVS doesn't play. I mean, that's just another guy to have back.
Right. Just another guy, I think more because we can't trust our tight end. So our short yardage guy is really going to be, Devontae always his number one option on every.
I'm going to ask you a question about that later.
Oh, shit, okay. But, that's how I think.
All right, what was your last takeaway?
My last one is going to be different than yours no matter what. But I actually love that Jordan Love was able to get some playing time. Everybody's hating on that, but
that's a good one.
We were able to put him in a lot of situations that you're not going to see sitting on the bench. You're not going to know how it feels, just running practice. The 2-minute drill.
2-minute drill, yep.
He looked bad. He kind of just threw it up. And sure, that pass to, was it EQ? It could have been a little bit more outside. It's probably 6. But you know what? Again, you're not understanding how to throw that pass if you're sitting on the bench. Yep. And people need to settle down. We're going to have a PSA in a little bit, but I wanted to give Jordan Love some actual love instead of getting bashed by all these fans.
Yeah, we're both going to give public service announcements about Jordan Love when it comes up later. But my last takeaway was the number 1 seed was already secure. I am absolutely baffled by the number of uninformed fans that are like, why are we putting Jordan Love in? Are we trying to throw this game? Are we losing on purpose? We need the number 1 seed. Like, people should have known this after the Vikings game, that the number 1 seed was already secure. There was people wanting Rodgers to not play at all because they're like, oh, what if he gets hurt? But I wanted him to play, and I just want to toot my own horn that I correctly said that they were going to play half, the starters were, just to stay fresh so that they weren't coming off of a 2-week bye when they play their first playoff game. So they have a whole other week to get fresh and healthy and prepared. If you watch anything LaFleur says this week, he's not going to discuss anything about who they're going to potentially face. That's why Jake and we don't care. We're not going to be like, oh, here's if they play this team, this team, this team, this team. The Packers aren't going to worry about it, so neither are we. Packers are going to prepare for what they do before they work on what opponent they're going to face. Doesn't pay to spend a week focusing on 4 hypothetical opponents when you're only going to have to play one of them.
Yeah, why prepare for something you don't have to worry about, right?
So Jake and I aren't going to do that either. So let's do some recap. It's basically going to be a tale of 2 halves when we talk about it. So before we do our Jordan Love PSA, let's talk about the first half. Is there anything you want to highlight from the first half of the game?
Well, before I do that, I wrote this down. I was going to say this because I was going to give you credit and kind of give us a shout out at the same time. You would have understood what was going to happen in the Detroit game if you follow us and share us to all your friends that don't understand football as well as we do. So share us, let us know. You would have saw Tyler's correctly predicted first half playing time for the starters. But for me, I love that Bakhtiari was able to get thrown in there and Myers, and they both were just as good as they were, And Bakhtiari's leg is only going to get stronger, the more playing time he gets. Yep. He got bowled over one time, but he looked good for the most part, in my opinion. The divisional game is really going to put a lot of strain on that. Aaron Rodgers was Aaron Rodgers, 14 of 18, dude. Like,
Dude,
What more do you want?
I have
What do you want?
next to Rodgers. He looks crazy locked in.
He does, dude, and he's just everybody's saying, it just looks easy for him. He's like, oh, okay, so that guy's over there, this guy's coming down, and I never get mad at Rodgers anymore. When he lets the play clock go down to 2-1, 2-1, and it's gonna hit 0, I'm like, Rodgers is literally gonna destroy your defense right now, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Rodgers, it seems like when Rodgers is playing quarterback, he's either snapping the ball with like 29 seconds on the play clock to get somebody to jump or to catch somebody with 12 man on the field, or he's snapping it with like 0.2 on the clock, and he just spent the last 25 seconds looking at your defense and being like,
and then he just
Devontae's going to be open right there. I'm going to throw this ball 7 seconds before he gets there, and it's going to hit him right in the hands.
And the DB can't do anything about it. Like, he just like looks people in the eyes like, oh, that guy's shitting his pants right now. Okay, he can't guard him. Okay, this guy does not want to tackle A.J. Dillon. Okay, so we'll hand the ball off this play.
All right, so Lazard's coming this way. If that linebacker's right there, he's going to follow Lazard. You're really going to put a little linebacker on Allen Lazard? I'm just going to throw him another touchdown.
Oh, man, Allen Lazard, dude. Man, hey, that guy's been balling, bro.
He looks ready to be a legit wide receiver 2 in the NFL.
Yeah, he is really coming into his own, man. He's really hitting his prime right in front of our eyes, right as Devontae's in his prime. I know we have no tight end, but we don't need one right now. With the running game we have, with the 2-3, I believe in all of our top 4 wide receivers. After you get past the 4th one, it's a little shaky, but if all 4 stay healthy and we run the ball.
If it's Devontae, Lazard, Cobb, and MVS, I would maybe throw EQ in there. He's been pretty solid at times. He's had some nice third down conversions. He hasn't done anything wrong. He hasn't done anything, egregious to deserve any backlash. He's not committing dumb penalties. He's not doing anything foolish. He's not dropping passes. He's playing well on special teams. So I would maybe throw EQ in there too as a number 5.
All right,
I'm not ready to go 5 wide or anything, but
I won't bring up that he dropped a 2 touchdown last year in the championship game. Remember that right off the chest? Oh my god, couldn't believe that.
Anyways, Allen Lazard is a beast.
Mm-hmm.
As far as tight ends, so I just wanted to ask you this. I'm just going to ask you right now because it keeps coming up. One of my questions was, are you concerned about the tight end position going forward?
No, I just think when we pass to a tight end, it's going to be Big Dog. That's it.
For me, thinking about this question before I asked it, for me, it's like a tight end by committee position. It's going to be, if Rodgers throws any passes, it's going to be like 2 to you, 1 to you, and 1 to you between Davis, DeGuara, and Big Dog. That's really where I think I'm at. Even Dominique Daphne, he got a nice 26-yard reception that was from Jordan Love. Josiah DeGuara scored a really long touchdown. But that's, hey, they ran the tight end screen. That's one of the plays that I like.
I love the tight end screen.
It works out. It seems to work out well, like every time. Like it almost feels like a trick play because it almost never gets run, but it seems to always work out well. But the tight end position is one question that I'd want to ask you about. But one guy we got to give credit to on the defense, there was no Devondre Campbell playing in this game, so I guess 2 takeaways that I had from the defense. One being a positive. Similar to Allen Lazard, improving and coming along at the right time and really starting to play his best football, is Dean Lowry.
Yeah, he's balling.
He had a sack, and he was doing well in the run game. He's almost looking like he's worth $6 million a year. He's not going to get that next year, but at least not with the Packers. But I've been really pleased with Dean Lowry this season. If we had competence on the other D end, whether it's Kingsley Keke or even Tadaro Slayton, I don't think it's Tyler Lancaster because I personally don't understand why he's still on the team. But
I don't know why you hate that guy so much.
Just
the most.
he doesn't do anything. Like he just literally doesn't do anything. He just takes up space.
That's all we ask him to do, though.
But he doesn't even do that well. Like he doesn't even take up space well. All right.
You suck at existing, Lancaster.
Yeah. We had a hypothetical discussion when we talked about Eric Weddle coming back to play safety for the Lions in the playoffs, and our buddy Cody suggested why we bring Clay Matthews back for the playoffs. He can wear number 95.
I never even caught on why he said that. Oh my god. I just got it right now. Live on camera. Okay. Yeah, Cody. So, yeah, Isaac's the one that said that.
I gotta say, Cody's the one that said he should wear number 95. That's what.
Cody is the leader of the hating Lancaster crew. If you've ever seen Cody Zeese in the comments, he's the leader of the hate, Tyler Lancaster crew. And then Tyler followed, and I followed a little bit.
I'm the co-pilot.
He's the co-pilot. I mean, he is bad, but I don't think he's.
Kingsley Kiki was activated from the COVID list, so that's who I would start on the other DN
Kiki
position.
Is much better.
Yes.
I won't fight you on that.
Then my last takeaway that I had on the defense is Oren Burks he's not a starter. He's not the guy. He's just not. So I'm ready to be done with the Oren Burks experiment. I'd honestly rather have Christian Kirksey back on the team, or bring back Whitney Merciless. I don't feel the need to see Oren Burks playing any more defensive snaps.
Dude, how crazy was that like, we were in love with Kirksey last year because we were like, oh, he's been pretty good. That's how bad our middle linebackers have been. We're like, oh, Christian Kirksey's been pretty good. And then Devontae Campbell comes around, and he's just an absolute monster, bro.
Dude, he's like Pro Bowl caliber awesome this year.
Yeah, he is.
I should have looked up how many tackles he had this season and averaged it out and found out how many tackles he had per game. I guess one more thing for the defense is Matt LaFleur did say that if Jair didn't have COVID, he would have played in this game. So Jair, I would expect just to be like a full go when it comes to game one of the playoffs. So that's just another piece we have back.
Man, oh man.
Okay.
Oh man.
So this happened in the first half. While we're still talking about the first half, Davante Adams broke Jordy Nelson's single-season yards record.
Yep.
It bothered me so much that the commentators in the booth did not know that Davante still broke that record in 16 games. Davante missed the Cardinals game, so Davante still played 16 games this season. So talking that he missed he gets the extra game. Oh, he gets the extra game. He really didn't if you go by the games played. Sure, if it was a 16-game season or a 17-game season, 17 weeks, 16 games, he would have only had 15 games played.
Yep.
But he still only broke the record in 16 games. It's not like he had 17 games played to break the record. So that bothered me, but that being said, Davante Adams has the new single-season yards record for the Packers.
He is everything, and he's not leaving the Packers, and he's going to get franchise tag, or he's going to sign a big, gigantic contract with us. So, Davante, you're going to be a Packer for life one way or the other. Or it's going to get ugly. Those are the options. I don't think he's not one of those guys, I don't think. But.
And believing what I believe about Aaron Rodgers, which is that he's coming back, I don't see Davante wanting to sit out. It's not going to be a situation where, like an Allen Robinson situation where, your options are to sit out or go and be 6-11 with the Bears. Your options are going to be sit out or go contend for a Super Bowl. Like, it's a much different situation.
I agree with that. I don't want to talk about cap because, dude, when we do our off-season episode, that is going to be tough because we got a lot of moving pieces.
We'll see what ends up happening news-wise with that. We probably won't talk cap until after the draft because that'll be the big thing after the season ends is going to be draft position. So then we're probably going to get into our mock draft stuff, which we did a lot last year. It was a lot of fun. And I said it in one of our chats that I feel like I know a lot more of the players in the NFL from doing that really heavy draft prep and then doing a bunch of the mock drafts together. So your dad said the same thing. You don't sit out with the best passer throwing you the ball.
That's exactly
so if Rodgers is back, I don't see a situation where Davante sits out.
You know what I'm really excited for next year? I don't know why we're talking about next year. But my stepson is a huge Patriots fan for some reason. I don't know what's wrong with that kid. He got dropped on his head or something. I wasn't around then. But the Patriots come to Lambeau next year. That doesn't happen very often, so I think we're going to have to go to that game, man. he always walks around the house. Mac Jones is the GOAT. Mac Jones is the GOAT. I'm like, no, he's not. He is not the GOAT. Aiden. This kid's 9, so don't give him a hard time. He's 9. But I'm excited for that. But anyways, something I wanted to point out is I thought our run game, first half and second half was good. I mean, A.J. Dillon ran the ball 14 times, had 63 yards. He got a lot of tough yards. Aaron Jones missed a game. I don't know if you said that. Redundant.
Yeah, I put it on the on the takeaways that I did for the game when I posted that. It's basically just a rest situation so that he's fully 100% ready to go.
Yeah, his knee was bothering him, so wasn't really bothering him, I guess. It was just his knee, like you said, just precautionary
Maintenance.
So Aaron Jones sat out, but AJ Dillon ran tough, and Patrick Taylor, man, he ran real tough, man. He hit the whole. He
looks good.
11 for 53 and a touchdown. I mean, that's all you can ask for.
So I felt really good for him when he scored his touchdown. I was really, really excited to see him score his touchdown because if you go back to last July when you and I went to Packers practice, the first player out on the practice field was Patrick Taylor.
And he was working on the jugs machine.
And week 18 comes around, and he scores his first career touchdown. I was really, really happy for Patrick Taylor to see him score his first touchdown.
Who we need Matt Flynn's number for?
Then he's going to get a piece of tape and make it into a Jordan Love jersey.
I mean, sure. If you bought a Matt Flynn jersey, you are a real one.
That's dedicated.
That right now.
Maybe he just did it from the one Lions game and the Patriots game that he almost came back in. All right, so we're going to do it. We're going to talk about Jordan Love because it needs to be talked about. So we're going to start off where Jake and I both have a public service announcement to make about Jordan Love. First things first, the first interception was not his fault. That was a bobbled pass that if Devontae or Lazard or, say, Tunyon are out there or Cobb, that ball is getting caught. It's not getting bobbled and intercepted. That's first things first. Now, second thing. All right, if you have ever said that you think Brett Favre is better than Aaron Rodgers because he has heart and you don't care about the interceptions, then you should not spend a damn second complaining about Jordan Love. Not a second complaining about Jordan Love. This is the end of this game. He's playing without the starters, so he's not playing with Devontae and Lazard and all the starting linemen, so he's playing with all the second-team guys, and he's trying to mount a comeback. And he throws a late interception. And now you're going to complain about it? But if Brett Favre were to do that, you're just like, oh, he's playing with heart. He's trying to mount a comeback. What do you think Jordan Love's doing? He's not throwing that ball to get picked on purpose. He's throwing the ball because he's trying to win a game. But you're gonna sit back. I had somebody tell me on Facebook that he's been playing for 2 years. No, the hell he hasn't. He's played 90 minutes of football, not 2 years. Don't tell me that he should know how to read a defense by sitting on the sidelines with a clipboard and watching film. You learn how to read defenses by playing against defenses, and not in practice and preseason, which is a little bit of work. You learn by actually doing it. I've seen people, I know Matt Ramage posted it about Aaron Rodgers' first 6 games or whatever, where he was 6-11 in his first season or as a starter or something like that. I mean, Jordan Love has played 90 minutes of football, and people were like, oh, he's not ready. He's not NFL ready. Jordan Love sucks. We need to trade him immediately. We don't know. We don't know. We have not seen nearly enough of Jordan Love to know whether he's ready and will take over for Aaron Rodgers. Look at the Bears. They stuck out with 4 years with Mitchell Trubisky.
Oh, imagine. Hey, they're about to stick out 4 years with Justin Fields, too.
The Browns announced that they're going to bring back Baker Mayfield next year. Sure, he had a good 2020, but he has not been good in 2021.
No.
I mean, it's 90 minutes of football, and he's not ready. He needs to be traded. He sucks. 90 minutes of football. I mean, the Vikings are stuck with Kirk Cousins. Sure, he had a solid year, but I mean, that franchise is not going anywhere meaningful with Kirk Cousins.
Yeah. And you brought up the Bears and the Vikings. They both just let go of their GM and head coach. So clearly, the team with the brightest future outside of the Packers is the Lions.
It's the Lions. It really is.
That's nuts to think about.
I strongly agree with you. It's the Lions.
Oh, yeah.
Amon-Ra St. Brown looks great. TJ Hawkinson is a all-pro tight end. They have a solid offensive line. They have a couple of good, decent running backs. Jared Goff he's a serviceable quarterback. I mean, there's obviously better options, but you can get by with Jared Goff as your quarterback. Obviously, he's been to a Super Bowl, so he can't be that terrible. I mean, like I said, he's serviceable. They just need a front seven, really.
Yeah.
Their secondary was pretty decent at times on Sunday. They drafted Ifatu Melifonwu, who's one of the guys we talked about during draft prep last year. They have Jeff Okuda, who was a first-round draft pick last year. He didn't look good last year, but, they have first-round talent in their secondary. Some consistent safety play in a front seven, and the Lions, I agree with you. They're probably the second-best team in the NFC North.
Yeah. NFC North's pretty garbage outside of the pack.
It really is. And that's why Rodgers is not going to the Denver Broncos. You really want to go to the Broncos and have to play the Raiders twice a year and the Chargers twice a year and the Chiefs twice a year?
Dude.
Really? With a worse offensive line and an okay defense? And now you're going to have a new head coach?
Yeah, I don't know about all that, man. That's a lot. It's a lot, man. I have something to ask you, actually. It's about Aaron Rodgers. It's going to be after this. So, I was going to say, everybody just calm down. Let's take a deep breath, okay? I wanted Tyler to go after me, but now that he went before me, I have to start with that. So I was going to tell him to calm down before he went first. Jordan Love is not that bad, okay? I wrote down his stats. 36 of 62, 58 completion percentage. It's not that good. It's not that bad. 411 yards, 2 touchdowns, 3 picks. Okay, so the 3 picks. So he threw one in the Chiefs game where he was throwing up a ball to Devontae. Okay, that's an interception. He threw a catchable ball, right? He could have threw 2 touchdowns on Sunday if Davis would have caught that long. He put a nice touch on that one.
Yeah, he did.
I'll be honest with you.
Yep.
A nice touch. You got to have your guy make a play for you every once in a while, though.
Yep.
So he could have threw a touchdown to EQ if he throws it a little bit more outside. You don't figure that out unless you get on the field, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So to your point, you said you had somebody say that he's been playing for 2 years. He didn't even dress at all last year. He didn't dress. He wasn't on the official roster. So technically, this was really like his rookie year. And he's like a rookie quarterback going in.
If this was baseball, this would have been his rookie season.
Yeah. So, here's the thing. Because he was drafted in the first round, people think that he's just supposed to come in and throw for 400 yards and 2 touchdowns. That's absolutely not how it goes. If he would have been drafted in the third round, people would be like, oh, okay, we could just wait, see how he turns out, he'll be okay. So I wrote down Rodgers' stats. So this was his rookie season, right? 9 of 16, 65 yards, no touchdowns, and an interception. 39 rating. 39 quarterback rating. Bad. This is Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah,
one of the best quarterbacks ever. His second season, 6 of 15, 46 yards, no touchdowns, no picks. 48 quarterback rating. Okay? So neither of his quarterback ratings were higher. He only threw 1 pick to Jordan Love's 3, so he wins that one. He threw 0 touchdowns, and he threw for a total of 111 yards when Jordan Love has 411 yards. His completion percentage is 48% to Jordan Love's 58%, and Jordan Love just looked better than Aaron Rodgers in his first couple seasons. Love is just one of those guys who's just rough around the edges, right? As Wisconsin fans, this is really tough for me to make this comparison, but I wrote it down, so I'm going to say it. Do you remember a young guy that came from a different country? He plays basketball, and he won 2 MVPs, and when he first started, he was real rough around the edges, right? This little 18-year-old scrawny kid, we were like, who the heck is this guy, man? Jordan Love came out of Utah State. Who the hell comes out of Utah State? We could use the same scenario. Who the hell is this guy, right? A little rough around the edges. We clean up some footwork. We clean up some of his reading of defenses, right? But you don't get that unless you get on the field. The thing that I liked is that he recognized the pressure, and he got the ball out of his hands. That's the little things.
That was one of the takeaways that I had with Jordan Love is he didn't make any mental errors.
Right.
So That's a good thing. You can work on the physical stuff. I mean, making the mental errors. That's that's a step in the right direction. You talked about that when we talked about Royce and Newman early in the season.
Mm-hmm.
When you talked about him and Patrick being next to each other, and just miscommunication. That's something that needs to be fixed. Whereas not making the mental errors, that to me, I would say correcting a mental error is harder than correcting a physical one.
Oh,
as far as football is concerned, because I mean you can look at trying to think of some examples. Maybe like a Demarcus Russell, number 1 draft pick, talent, but his coaches gave him a blank tape and told him it was blitz packages. It was a blank tape, and he came back to practice the next day and said he watched a tape on blitz packages. It was a blank tape. The talent doesn't matter if you don't have the mental stuff figured out. So if the fact that he's not making mental errors is a sign of encouragement for me that he's on the right path.
I mean, it's still pretty badass. He can throw from goal line to goal line. I won't lie. That's pretty sick, dude. I wish I could do that. But he was just lazy, And Jordan Love, he's gonna put the work in. He's looked like a guy that's put the work in. He's trying to get better. And if you're a fan of this team, okay, listen, Wisconsin, we're a small state in this country, okay? And we got a lot of talent on a lot of our teams, right? We got a lot of MVPs. We win a lot. We go to the playoffs a lot. Listen, stop bashing our players. I do not have a problem if they're actually bad. Like if they're in their 8th year and they suck, okay? I yell at the TV, hey, you suck, man! I can't do what they do. But a young kid that has barely got any playing time, it's basically like walking up to a teenager that just started driving and being like, why the hell do you suck at driving? Like, dude, this is tough, man. It's not easy playing quarterback.
There's literally 2 players we're talking about today that we can put in this situation, and it's Jordan Love and Tyler Lancaster.
True. Lancaster, I'm sorry.
Oren Burks.
Oren Burks, you also suck. You're not even that good at special teams, to be honest with you. And that's like literally just running down the field. We are. And that's the problem, Isaac. We are spoiled by Rodgers' talent. I just made this comparison to Tyler, right? When we went from Favre to Rodgers, I didn't look at Aaron Rodgers and be like, all right, this guy's got to be as good as Brett Favre. He's got to show as much heart as Brett Favre. I'm going to go out there and I'm going to let Aaron Rodgers be Aaron Rodgers. I didn't know we were going to see a guy that throws 37 touchdowns and 4 interceptions every damn year, bringing us to the number 1 seed. We're always contending. I didn't know it was going to happen. And the comparison I made to Tyler is, what if Jordan Love, gets into his prime, gets his feet under him, and he's a guy that throws for 5,000 yards, 50 touchdowns, and 18 interceptions? I don't know what Jordan Love's going to do.
Jordan Love's combine comparison was Patrick Mahomes.
I know.
Patrick Mahomes' combine comparison was Aaron Rodgers.
It's pretty good.
You got to give people time. You can't say that he's played 90 minutes of football and act like he's going to be Aaron Rodgers as soon as he steps on the field. Yeah, especially when he's playing with the second-team offense.
Right, dude. He's not going to see everything. And then, people will be like, oh, but he has a start. He played the whole game with the starters. Bro, he was on the road against a Super Bowl contending team.
That was also a COVID situation. So it's not like he's going into the season knowing he's the starter. That was oh no, Aaron Rodgers has COVID. You're starting this week. See, now, James has a good point. James is a Saints fan. He follows the show because he's a good guy. Talking about the Saints, they went from Drew Brees to Jameis Winston to Trevor Siemian, then Taysom Hill to rookie Ian Book and back to Taysom Hill. So they went through just a revolving door of quarterbacks to be back in a situation where they almost reached out to Drew Brees and asked him to come back. They were considering calling Phillip Rivers and seeing if he wanted to come play quarterback for them, just because they didn't want to roll with rookies that just showed up. So, it could be a much worse situation. We could be the Bears and go from, having Justin Fields being the savior after Mitchell Trubisky was the savior after, everything else. And then they bring in Andy Dalton, and then they trade for a $22 million cap hit Nick Foles. Like, their third-string quarterback has a Super Bowl ring, and they don't know who they're starting at quarterback.
True.
Now their GM and head coach are gone. So Isaac said Love has a great arm, just needs to work on the mechanics. And that's a polish thing. That's just something he's going to get from experience. He needs that polish. He's a raw prospect. We knew that when we drafted him. So, anything else you want to say about Jordan Love before we talk about the rest of the Packers?
Nah, man. Let's just give him time. Let him develop, man.
All right.
Hey, Isaac, I gave him love, bro. He's been balling. Tyler said that he's going in. He's like really getting comfortable as a wide receiver too. I 100% agree with that. He's really filling into that role. He's like really just hitting his prime right in front of our eyes. I mean, this guy's still young. We got a lot of young guys on this team. Like Lazard, MVS is still young. Like everybody talks about Aaron Rodgers and like, oh man, he's 37, 38 years old. Like I'm like, bro, we got a lot of young teams. Like Kenny Clark's still young. I mean, a lot of these players. I mean, Rasul Douglas. What is he? What Rasul Douglas is 26, right? I mean, Savage is still young. I mean, Rashawn Gary, just hitting his prime right now. We got Elton Jenkins. I mean, Myers now. I mean, we got a lot of young dudes. I mean, Aaron Jones, 26 years old. A.J. Dillon. The Packers' future is not just going to stop with Aaron Rodgers. Our Super Bowl contention will stop for a couple of years, but the Packers being playoff ready, like getting to the playoffs, I think they can still get to the playoffs with Jordan Love, especially with the extra game.
We said that in the beginning of the year when we didn't know what was going to happen with Rodgers yet. Like, I believed that the Packers could win the division with Jordan Love. And we see what the rest of the NFC North has done, and I will stand by that. I wouldn't have shocked me if the Packers could have won 10 games with Jordan Love. They could have gone 10-7. Yes. That still would have had them a 2-game win in the division.
I see it.
Easily could see 10-7 with Jordan Love. A couple of the guys you didn't even mention on the offensive line. Josh Myers is a rookie. Royce Newman is a rookie. John Runyon's a second-year player. I mean, DeGuara is basically a rookie. He got his ACL torn last season, so he didn't even play in his rookie year, really. But, you already mentioned A.J. Dillon's a second-year player. I mean, the Packers are young, and they have a good core to remain a contender for a good while, basically as long as Rodgers wants to continue playing football.
Yep. The Packers can just run the ball right down your throat in so many different ways. I was actually going to mention that. I feel like we haven't seen a lot of like wide receiver motions and stuff like we did last year.
Yeah, it hasn't been nearly as frequent. They did do it. It seems like they do it after the snap a little bit more. Like it happened like Lazard on his second touchdown. That was an after snap motion where Lazard came across the formation in front of Rodgers and a linebacker ended up sticking with him.
Yeah.
So they don't really have the Tyler Ervin role that we talked about last year a lot. So it's not a ton of pre-snap motion. I
would have thought Cobb would have ran out of that. Just, go in motion, be Rodgers' outlet guy, just get like freaking like 70 catches off that alone,
And I think Aaron Jones being healthy the whole season could have done that a little bit more. Like he gets split out wide some. A.J. Dillon moves around a little bit, but he's not quite the pass catcher that Aaron Jones is. Although I will say, as far as this season is concerned, A.J. Dillon has impressed me as good of a pass catcher he is.
Yeah, Packers are just. I mean, I was reading James' comment. The Packers are set up to succeed for a long time. I really believe that. Jordan Love will be fine. Everybody relax. But that doesn't mean that we want Aaron Rodgers gone. I want everybody to understand that.
Right.
Because I want Aaron Rodgers back. We end up in a scenario where Rodgers is like, all right, listen, I want you guys to re-up me for 4 years. I'm going to play for 4 years, and after 4 years, I'm going to retire. Trade Jordan Love. I'm absolutely okay with that. Yeah. I don't want to keep him held hostage for that long anyways.
Right.
There's a team that would take Jordan Love. I bet we can get a fourth rounder for Jordan Love, fourth, maybe third.
We talked about this a couple weeks ago. I could see the Texans giving us a third rounder for Jordan Love.
Look at Isaac.
Isaac said nowhere to sign far.
Come on, Isaac.
Anthony, what's up? We're talking about the Packers. We're just about to wrap up with the Packers. But but I mentioned A.J. Dillon for a reason. The Packers had 2 running backs this season with 1,000 scrimmage yards. And that's Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon. The only team that did that last year was the Browns, and that was Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt. You're talking like best duos in the NFL at running back.
Yeah.
And the Packers have that.
They're
addition
definitely
to the number 1 quarterback and the number 1 wide receiver in the NFL.
Filthy. And the number 1 corner. Filthy. Give it to us. Now
And
bring the damn trophy home.
One of the best offensive lines in the NFL.
And the best head coach. Coach of the year this year.
Jake said it perfectly at the beginning of the show. It seems like this ball is really getting set on the tee for the Packers to make a run this year.
If they don't at least go to the goddamn Super Bowl this year, I might lose it. There's no way that we don't make it this year. There's no way. There's just absolutely no way. We don't turn the ball over. We force turnovers. We play good enough defense. We get teams off the field after 3. We forced a 4-and-out on Sunday. The first drive of the day by the Lions. Aaron Rodgers is the MVP again. We got the 2-headed monster of the running backs. We got our full healthy offensive line, except for our left guard. But Runyon has played very well this year. I mean, he hasn't given up the sacks that Royce Newman has. And Newman will be able to get help with the fully healthy offensive line. So we'll be able to kind of collapse all that stuff. But, like, dude. Okay, hang on. Let me read James' comment right in the middle. He said, if you guys face the Rams in the playoffs, do me a favor and destroy them. I'm still mad at them. James, the Packers own the Rams.
Yeah.
My father-in-law, who is a huge Rams fan, he even says it. He's like, if we go to Lambeau and face you guys there, you'll kill us. And we will. I mean, the last game wasn't even close. They had a couple splash plays, but other than that, there was nothing. I mean, they really didn't move the ball that well.
And that was a mental mistake by Adrian Amos that gave them 7 in their points.
I mean, I think that we're going to play the Cardinals. I think the Cardinals are going to beat the Rams. It's personally how I feel. I think the Cardinals are going to go on the road. They're going to beat the Rams. He can't even stop Rodgers cover toe. He ran that touchdown. One of the sickest photos in Packers history, Aaron Rodgers after the touchdown run. I think we're going to face the Cardinals, and then we're going to face the Cowboys. I think the NFL is rigging these playoffs to have Aaron Rodgers beat Mike McCarthy to go to the Super Bowl.
I saw somebody say, should we be worried about the Cowboys because Mike McCarthy knows Aaron Rodgers and the Packers? And it's like he knows who Aaron Rodgers is, but he knows nothing about Matt LaFleur or Matt LaFleur's system. This offense is not the Mike McCarthy offense. And we just highlighted that. The 2-headed monster at running back would have never happened with McCarthy. We had 1,000-yard rusher in McCarthy's tenure, and it was Eddie Lacy, and he had 1,027 yards. So he just snuck over the 1,000-yard mark. I mean, and as far as the Rams are concerned, Matthew Stafford in the playoffs does not scare me. He's so turnover prone. He made some really, really bad decisions in that game on Sunday. He threw 2 picks and had a fumble that just got slapped out of his hand.
Dude, that last pick he threw was a freaking terrible throw. I'm gonna reply to Isaac's comment. He doesn't run a halfback draw, or he doesn't run a freaking quarterback sneak from the goal line formation at the 5-yard line. Rodgers was commenting on that. He said, "Yeah, call that one in, Matt. See what happens." We ain't running a quarterback sneak. I'll tell you that.
Oh, that's awesome.
Rodgers gonna be like, okay, I guess I have to do this motherfucking thing.
I hated the McCarthy special, which was like a 2nd and 5, and they run an outside pitch play that loses 3 yards every time.
Or we would run the ball, right? We'd get a good on 2nd down. We'd get a good 8.5-yard run. McCarthy's like, you know what? They're not expecting us to go deep, except when we did it in the first quarter already. So we're gonna go deep again. It was like
3rd and short. Yep.
We're in 3rd and 1. What the? You run freaking fullback dive, on freaking 3rd and 8, and now you want to go deep? You are just a son of a. I hate that guy. He wasted so many years of Rodgers' prime, dude.
And he's not the play caller in Dallas. It's Kellen Moore. Kellen Moore calls the plays, the offensive coordinator. So,
and their offense isn't impressive, dude. Their offense is not impressive.
They beat up on a lot of bad teams. They didn't win. I believe they didn't beat a team that had 10 or more wins.
It's from the Tecmo Bowl. It was, dude. So they did not beat. Okay,
I'm gonna pull up.
I went through their schedule. They beat the Chargers, who had it. They were over 500. They beat the Patriots, and they beat one other team. God, who was it?
I'm gonna pull it up.
The best win that they had was the Patriots, and that was all the way back in like week 6. Matt LaFleur would be a good head coach. I tell you this, he is. Yeah, LaFleur knows his stuff, man. I mean, he comes to work every day, and he's prepared. And, even though I wasn't taking it very seriously on Sunday, Matt LaFleur was definitely taking it seriously, and he did not enjoy that we were giving up those trick plays. He was like, listen, that shit does not fly around here. You got to be focused every damn second. Matt wants this damn Super Bowl as much as Rodgers does, and we know how bad Rodgers wants it.
So the best showing I think the Cowboys had against a good team was probably week 1 against Tampa when they scored 29 points. Other than that, you look at they beat the Chargers, they scored 20.
Yep.
They beat Philadelphia by scoring 41. They beat Carolina scoring 36. They beat the Giants scoring 44. None of those teams are even remotely near playoffs except for Philadelphia, who snuck in just
because somebody had to get in,
right? The New England win is probably their signature win on the season. They won that game 35-29. That's probably their best win. Other than that, they beat Minnesota. They scored 20 points. They got killed by Denver. They destroyed Atlanta, who is not a playoff team. They lost to Kansas City 19-9. 9 points against Kansas City. I mean, Jordan Love scored 7 on that defense. They lost to the Raiders 36-33. They gave up 36 points to the Raiders.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that team is decent, but it's not 36 points decent.
No, and that was right after the Henry Ruggs thing, I think.
Yeah, and that was after Gruden got fired too.
Yeah.
They beat the Saints. They beat Washington. They beat the Giants again. They beat Washington again. Lost to Arizona and beat Philly. The Patriots game is really the only game that gives me cause for concern. And that was like 13 weeks ago.
And when they beat the Patriots, it was before the Patriots got on fire. I think it was right after that game when the Patriots were like, all right, we can figure this thing out. We're going to go on a run. They won like 5 in a row or whatever. And they got they snuck in the playoffs now in the AFC.
Trayvon Diggs is not the defensive player of the year. I don't care that he has 11 interceptions. I do not care. If you play the Packers, he's not intercepting Rodgers because Rodgers doesn't throw interceptions. So their only strength that they have on their secondary is a guy that gets interceptions against a team that doesn't throw interceptions. He gives up yards like crazy. Devontae would murder him if the Packers play the Cowboys. I want to play the Cowboys.
I do
too.
It's
a great matchup for the Packers. Personally, I think Zeke he's washing up. Like, he's still a decent running back, but Mike McCarthy's going to turn him into Eddie Lacy 2.0 pretty quick here. Tony Pollard looked at points better than Zeke did. Amari Cooper is overrated in my opinion. They just lost Michael Gallup. Honestly, their tight end position is only one that really concerns me, but we have Devondre Campbell now to kind of neutralize that, which would be interesting to see if we played the 49ers, how they would defend George Kittle, but that's a bridge we'll cross when we get to it.
I do not want to face 49ers.
The Cowboys defense, if you neutralize Micah Parsons, they have nothing else.
Yeah.
Trayvon Diggs does not concern me at all.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, dude, this is what I was saying, bro. And if it comes down to Tom Brady again, I swear to God, dude, I swear on everything, we better not lose to Tom Brady.
They have one healthy receiver and Rob Gronkowski.
I know, isn't Fournette supposed to come back for the playoffs?
He's designated to return, but I don't know when he's going to play. Even still.
Yeah. I don't see us losing to any of these teams. We shouldn't lose. At least last year, when you looked at it, we were like, all right, we lost to Tampa Bay in the regular season. They beat up us on us pretty good. That is a team that, like, they could beat us, you know? They could make us look bad.
Isaac Evans is their one healthy receiver. Antonio Brown obviously had his whole situation, and Godwin tore his ACL. So they have one healthy receiver.
Well, they still have Scotty Miller, right? But he's just a deep threat.
He's not even really a deep threat. He's more of a He only looked like a deep threat because Kevin King gave up a deep touchdown.
He only looked like a deep threat because of Kevin King.
Scotty Miller is he's a Cole Beasley, Adam Humphries, Andy Isabella slot possession receiver kind of guy.
Andy Isabella doesn't even play. How do you know who that is? He barely plays.
All right. You have anything else you want to talk about the Packers before we start talking about basketball?
Nah, this weekend's going to suck because we don't get to watch them. That's all I got.
Hopefully we keep hearing good news about Zadarius Smith. That would be the thing that would make me happiest about the Packers, is to hear that Zadarius Smith is going to play.
Imagine the crowd, dude. Oh man.
Yeah.
Crowd's
I want to
loud.
see him. I want to see him have a cool style, a cool
T-shirt under his
saying
jersey.
on his jersey. Yeah, like get a sack and he pulls out a shirt that says "I'm back."
Yeah, that'd be sick. When he pulled out the snub thing, dude, that one day, that was sick.
That was
By the way,
awesome.
Defensive Player of the Year is a former Wisconsin Badger. That's all I got.
It is. Yep. I said Myles Garrett 3 weeks ago, and it's definitely TJ Watt.
Dude,
James, this is. I will give you $1 if you know what hat this is. It's gray and yellow. I'll give you $1 if you know what it is.
A whole $1, James.
I will mail you $1. It'll cost me $1.25 to send it to you, but I will mail you $1.
Bro, if you do that, James, you have to dance for 1.5 minutes live. 1.5 minutes because you only danced for like 10 seconds the other day. I felt cheated.
Oh, it's not Salt Lake City.
Ooh.
That was a good guess, but it is an AAF team. It is a San Diego Fleet hat. It's a good guess. You had the right league, wrong team.
All right, send him 50 cents.
Nope, he has to send me $1. Should have made a pie bet on that.
Ooh, James, have to send him $1. Pie bet. Yeah, I got to do that next week. Hey, James, if you make pie bets, do them with me because then you won't lose. That's just how it works, I guess.
And don't do them with me or you will lose.
Yep, that's basically how this works right now.
I'm going to continue to hang my hat on undefeated on pie bets until I lose.
Next week's going to suck.
All right, ready to talk basketball?
Yeah, let's talk some Bucks basketball. Let's get all the hurt out.
Yeah, the best team they played was their best game. Like,
I know. And I was going to say this to Isaac the other day because we have a lot of conversations. And Isaac was talking about how he thinks the Packers play up to their competition. This was a while back, right? And I was like, Isaac, that's literally a Wisconsin team thing. They literally play to their competition. Look at Wisconsin football. They annually lose to Northwestern or Illinois. It's like, how the hell do you mess that up? You just won 8 in a row. Well, then they lost to Minnesota. Shouldn't have lost to Minnesota. Absolutely should not have lost to Minnesota.
Look at the Brewers this past year. They beat up on the NL West. They were beating up on the Dodgers. They were beating the Giants, beating the Padres. And then they score 1 run in 2 games against the Braves.
Yeah.
They lose in 3.
Yeah.
Like,
it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense.
We're in the dead season of the NBA in between Christmas and the All-Star break, where it's quiet because everybody's talking about the NFL. So that's, that on top of all the guys the Bucks are missing, we really got to dig deep for context in these games instead of just looking at them for face value and saying the Bucks went 1-3 in their last 4 games.
Hey, you brought up how everybody's talking about NFL. Did you see that list of the top 100 shows on television last year? So the top 100 broadcasts or whatever they called it, 91 of the 100 were NFL football games. 48 of the top 50 were NFL football games.
Wow.
And all of the top 16 were NFL football games. Dude, I sent that to my dad the other day. He was like, man, Goodell's just laughing all the way to the bank. That guy's so rich, bro. It's crazy. But anyways.
Shohei Ohtani was talking about how he wants to make Major League Baseball the most popular sport in America again. I made Major League Baseball is going through a really big deal right now with their lockout.
Yeah.
And, they're working on it, and I guess they're making progress. I mean, they're making proposals and stuff, but Rob Manfred is easily the worst commissioner in professional sports.
I mean, they're probably not going to start the season on time, you would think, right?
I don't think spring training is going to start on time. The pitchers and catchers are supposed to report in like a month. I mean, we're getting close to pitchers and catchers reporting.
I know.
And they're barely beginning these discussions.
I know. It's
like the expansion of the playoffs and the revenue stuff is going to take a long time to sort out. But anyway,
he said maybe if everybody took roids again. I love steroids in baseball. I'm one of those people. I want to see home runs.
I like sticky stuff. I think the pitches going like this is really fun to watch. But I mean, you got to level the playing field somehow. Like, it's not fun watching the Brewers bat 200 on the season.
Yeah.
They did trade Jackie Bradley Jr., so I guess they have that going for them.
Yeah, they did do that.
Like I said, we're in the dead season of basketball because the NFL is ramping up with the playoffs now, and we're in between Christmas and the All-Star break. Those are the dead zone of basketball. So the Bucks Raptors game, no Giannis, no Grayson Allen, no Pat Connaughton, no Dante, no George Hill. I don't think in that game either. And Chris Middleton kicked off, and we're going to talk about he played, but we're going to talk about that right after this. Demarcus Cousins had 15 points and 8 rebounds in this game. But looking at it, OG Anunoby, Fred VanVleet, Pascal Siakam, and Gary Trent Jr. combined for 96 points.
They did.
That is, I mean, the Bucks shot well, but Toronto shot lights out in this game.
They did.
The Bucks only lost by 6. This is what we keep saying. Like, we're talking all these guys the Bucks are missing, in addition to the head coach Budenholzer.
Yep.
And they're losing these games by single digits. You add Giannis to this game, and we win by 8. If you add
easily.
Obviously, like, his production comes at the expense of others, but I mean, you add 28, 12, and 6 to your team, you're going to have more than a +6.
Yeah.
The Bucks, they still need to cut down the turnovers, really, and the Bucks can win some of these really close games. It's just, I mean, you just got to cut down the turnovers. I'm going to ask you a question about that later, but do you want to say anything about this game before we talk about DeMarcus Cousins?
Okay, so you brought up, if Giannis would have played, they would have won by 8. I think it would have been more because it literally looked like Siakam and Gary Trent were getting layup lines to the rim. Siakam was doing whatever he wanted. You think he was going to do that against Giannis? Sure, he might score a little bit, but he's not going to score like he was. Siakam's a nice player. I'm not going to talk trash about him.
He won Most Improved 2 years ago. Like, he's solid. I mean, he was
a good second star in that championship team. Like, he's a good player.
He's a solid player. Yeah, I agree.
But he's not going to have 33, 6, and 6. He was doing whatever the hell he wanted, But it is what it is. Boogie played well in this game. I thought Jrue Holiday played pretty well. Chris was doing his thing, but we just did not play any defense, and the rim protection is still a problem. That's really my only concern at all outside of health is rim protection.
That's a perfect transition into talking about DeMarcus Cousins, because after this game, it was announced that they were releasing DeMarcus Cousins. James, I want to get into the Admirals more. It's just kind of a tough thing to get into because it's not television broadcast around here. I do want to do that moving forward, but it's just kind of a time thing that we don't really have as much time to talk about that. Okay, DeMarcus Cousins. Now, this was a surprising thing that happened because we don't have any other centers on the roster besides Mamu, really. Now, looking at it, Jake just gave you basically the reason he was released. He just talked about Pascal Siakam and Gary Trent basically having a layup line. Yes, DeMarcus Cousins gave us a presence in the middle. Yes, he's tough. Yes, he was scoring a little bit. Yeah, he helped in the rebounding department. He is not a rim protector. He does not play defense. He doesn't. That's the fact of the matter, is that he doesn't play defense. He doesn't protect the rim. The Bucks could do better with Nerlens Noel at the center, for example, than Demarcus Cousins, just because they need that defensive presence. And then on top of that, Demarcus Cousins was shooting like 27% from the three-point line. Those are the two big reasons. And then the third big reason is Demarcus Cousins being cut before Friday, before the Nets game. It saved the Bucks $1.4 million. His cap hit without retaining him is only $600,000. If they had kept him, it was about $2.1 million. You can ask the same question of why they didn't release Wesley Matthews for the same reason, because his contract became guaranteed on Friday. But then you watch that Nets game and it's like, oh, that's why they kept Wesley Matthews. He was playing really tough. Dude, I mean, he kept KD in check for points in that game.
He did.
He played really tough defense in that game. And he made some threes, which is what the Bucks need. The Bucks need shooters around Giannis. And, unfortunately, Demarcus Cousins just isn't that guy.
I didn't have a problem with Boogie, but the lack of defense is really what was getting me. I mean, I've said it multiple times. The entire reason that the Bucks are contenders and will continue to be contenders is because they play defense. When they need to, they can lock down. I've said it about Drew Holiday. He always finds a way to get that steal. Or Giannis will find a way to get that block. Or Middleton will jump a passing lane and get a steal. Like, the Bucks find a way to play good team defense. Sure, they give up, the corner three at an alarming rate, but I'll give that shot up. If that's where you want to live, you shoot that. That's fine.
I've said this a whole bunch of times. If you say a team shoots 60% in the restricted circle and 35% from the three-point line, and you give a team 100 shots, that those 35 threes are worth 105 points. Those 60 layups are worth 120.
Think about that, man. I mean, that's you're saving points right there.
Basic math.
If Boogie would have just been a little bit better, I mean, he doesn't have to get all the blocks. I'm not asking him to block as many shots as Brook did or whatever. If he could have just altered a few more shots and maybe made them miss a few more times, I would have been way more comfortable with us paying him that $1.4 million. But as Isaac pointed out, roster spot needed in the buyout market. There's going to be a player or two, and nobody said we can't go back and get Boogie. Nobody said that he can't come back.
Didn't rule it out. John Horst didn't rule it out.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly why I said that. I was like, he didn't say we're not going to bring him back. So he could still end up on our team.
He signed a 10-day with the Nuggets.
Yep, I saw that. So it's a weird spot for him, by the way. I would have never thought the Nuggets.
Well, they just traded Bull, so they're probably just looking for somebody to take some minutes from Jokic.
That's a good point that I did not think about. That'll boy.
What I will say is in this same breath, the Bucks did send a scout to the Kings Cavaliers game the other day. So, maybe there's something in there. I don't know if it's going to be Kevin Love being bought out, if they're going to look at maybe like a Rashawn Holmes. I've heard some rumors that they might be interested in Wisconsin native Tyrese Halliburton. That would be a very interesting pickup. He'd be very similar to what Malcolm Brogdon did for the Bucks. He averages a little over 13 points, 6.9 assists, and he shoots about 44% on threes. So to me, Tyrese Halliburton would be a similar guy to what Malcolm Brogdon brought to the Bucks, which would be really, really interesting. Isaac said they're saving the roster spot for Dan Gadzarich. I think he's like 95 now, so...
Bro, I'll never forget his curly head against the freaking Hawks in the first round in what was that, like 2010, dude? Oh, my God. The good old days, man.
He didn't make it to 2010.
He sure did.
No.
Was that 08 then or something? 09 maybe? Dude, he definitely played. He played in that Hawks series when we went 7, when they had Al Horford and all that. I remember he had a game one time. He was making like a hella layups in like the third quarter or something. He was going crazy in one of those games. In Atlanta, too.
He's 43. He's only 43, so maybe he could come back.
or Larry Sanders.
He was on the Bucks until the 2009-2010 season, and then he
See?
was with
2009. Then it was. He was going crazy one of those games.
He only played 32 games that season, so he must have got hurt or something.
I remember. 10-Day Dan. Oh, that has a good ring to it. That's a good ring to it.
Dude, 2004, 2005, he started all 81 games.
What the hell?
Averaged 7.3 points per game and 8 rebounds.
Bro, I still have my team photo up there somewhere in that mess from the 05 team. Oh my God, all the faces on there is crazy.
I'm glad that I have a 2013 or a 2014, 2015 one from Giannis's rookie year, and it had Giannis, Middleton, Ersan, it had Larry Sanders on it, Zaza.
I hate Zaza now, but I hate him ever since you did that dirty thing to Kawhi Leonard. He put his foot under there. Come on, man. I know he put that thing under there on purpose. Don't let him tell you that he didn't. He's a dirty son of a bitch. I used to love Andrew Bogut though.
Dude, Andrew Bogut was awesome. I enjoyed Andrew Bogut. I think he kind of signaled a little bit of the start of the rebuild for the Bucks. That was when they went back to red and green. Yeah, that was the year they drafted Andrew Bogut. There was some rough years in there. So we're not in 2010, 2013 territory when we're winning 15 games a year.
I went to a lot of Bucks games those years, though, man.
That's because it was only like $5 to go because nobody wanted to go.
I was buying freaking slices of za, dude, man. Oh, good times. I was sitting like 8 rows from the floor, man. Oh, man, I was sitting in the box seats. We got free box seats one time, man. Oh, that was awesome. Good times, man. They gave you like free beer up there. It was crazy.
What were you, like 12?
No, dude. This was in the 13th season. I was 21 or 22. I don't know, math. But yeah, it was awesome. They give you like free food up there, right? So like I asked for a steak. So I had steak and potatoes while watching a basketball game. That shit was lit. Your first meal was free. That was awesome.
All right. Anything else you want to say about the Bucks Raptors game?
No, we need to play better defense.
I need to cut down the turnovers. Okay, so we talked about Demarcus Cousins. Is there anything you want to say about Demarcus Cousins?
Demarcus Cousins? No, Demarcus Cousins.
Okay. Bucks Nets. What do you want to say about that game? The one bright spot that we have to talk about.
This game right here, obviously hindsight's 2020. I know that we lose the next 2 games after this, and we lost the one before this. But this right here, beating the Nets in Brooklyn, is what still shows me that we are still the top dog in the Eastern Conference. Even though everybody wants to crown that the Bulls are playing the best. Everybody's talking about the Bulls now on ESPN. We play them pretty soon, okay? I can't wait till we play them.
Dude, the Bulls are so annoying. They needed back-to-back buzzer beaters to beat the Pelicans and the Pacers.
Yeah, I know. But Giannis balled out in this game. Middleton balled out in this game. 26-5. Giannis 31-7-9. We didn't have Drew Holiday. Bobby Portis 25-12.
He had 20 and 9 at halftime. He was going crazy.
Monster.
He was shooting heat checks and cashing them.
Here's the thing that I really took away from this game. Giannis only played 27 minutes. Still put up that 31-7-9, right? The Nets rely so much on Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant, 29, 9, and 7, and Durant's great. Don't get me wrong, but he played 37 minutes. Like 10 more minutes.
The Bucks did a really good job of attacking Durant, getting him into early foul trouble too. So he had to play cautious too. That's a strategy for the playoffs right there.
Oh yeah, I would go right at him too.
Get him in foul
James
trouble.
Harden, 36 minutes, 16 points, 9 rebounds, 7 assists. He shot 6 of 15, 1 of 3 on 3-pointers. He used to shoot 3 3-pointers a quarter. 3 of them a quarter.
Yeah.
And now because he can't do that little floppy stuff, he can't do that no more. Now he really has to play basketball. He's still a good playmaker. He's still a pretty good rebounder for a guard.
He's become a point guard and not a
shooting
shooting
guard.
guard.
He really is. And Kyrie is the shooting guard. That's really how I feel about that.
But he wants to handle the ball like a point guard, so they basically have 2 point guards now. Still only 1 basketball though.
The thing that I took away from this, we held them to 6 of 27 on 3-pointers. Played very good perimeter defense. I mean, we both shot 45% overall. We rebounded the ball the same. Assists were pretty much even. Our superstars were more efficient than their superstars, and that's really the breakdown that I got out of this.
So I watched this entire game. I watched it really closely. At one point, Bobby Portis was on a 10-0 run, and then he missed a dunk. So, I mean, it's just kind of unlucky, but it happens. Wesley Matthews and Chris Middleton were playing really good defense to start the game on Kevin Durant and James Harden. They were switching. Middleton just couldn't get some shots to fall. He had a lot of shots, like hit both sides of the rim and bounce out. Just really unfortunate. But once he got back from halftime, he turned it on. Looking at the first half, the Bucks were moving the ball really well. I already mentioned they were trying to get KD in foul trouble. That is a playoff strategy. You get Kevin Durant in foul trouble, he can't play 50 minutes in a game that goes to overtime. The last few minutes of the second half, the Bucks kept a double-digit lead in a lot of this game, but a lineup of Langston Galloway, Thanasis Antetokounmpo, Jordan Nwora, Rodney Hood, and Mamu kept pace with the Brooklyn starters for the last 4 minutes of the first half. I mean, Mamu stripped James Harden at one point. Mamu was working really hard in this game, which was encouraging to see. But I mean, the Bucks got actually good bench scoring, which is something that they did not get in the next two games. So it was good to see all hands on deck, like Jake said earlier before we started talking about the Bucks playing up to their competition. That's what it really felt like.
Mm-hmm.
Chris Middleton kept his bounce back going, his bounce back week going. I kind of feel bad for Nick Claxton. He seems like he's got some potential, but he's a really young guy. And the first 3 quarters of the game, was just Kevin Durant and James Harden yelling at him. I get, they're competitive players and they want you to do, everything you're supposed to all the time. But I mean, coach your guy. Don't just we saw Giannis and Chris at times last year where it looked like they're kind of bickering on the sidelines, but they're talking basketball. They're not just yelling at each other. It rubbed me the wrong way about KD and Harden that they're just yelling at their guy.
You
especially
can tell
a young
the difference. Guy. You can tell the difference when it's constructive.
Right. So I kind of felt bad for Claxton. He ended up having a good fourth quarter, though. So never mind. I don't feel bad for him anymore.
I like Claxton, too. He can be a good player.
Yeah. So one thing I got to say about Giannis is he's doing really, really well at recognizing when he's driving to the basket, whether he's going up either side of the lane, is recognizing when he's going to get double or triple teamed and using that pullback dribble and shooting the elbow jumper. He's doing really, 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 really well recognizing when to use that pullback dribble and shoot the jump shot. So I want to give Giannis credit for that. And then late in the game, he made just a sick no-look pass to Bobby Portis in the corner for a 3. And the Nets called a timeout and waved the white flag.
Yep, that iced the game right there.
It did. That was awesome to see. And that was just a play after he got dunked on by Claxton. So, Giannis stays focused and 3 counts for more than 2. I don't care. And that's what shot blockers do. Every shot blocker is going to get dunked on once in a while. So don't act like it doesn't happen to everybody that blocks shots.
Everybody goes crazy because it's Giannis.
And everybody that gets dunked, every time he gets dunked on, he's going to block 13 shots before it happens again.
Right. I agree with that.
So that's why anytime I see somebody get dunked on, I give you credit for at least contesting the shot.
Right.
Because it's worth the same 2 points that he would have got if he just had the wide open dunk. And, if you get the block, that's just crazy. I mean, Giannis did it in the finals.
He did.
I would rather have you at least contest it than than just giving up a wide open shot. So it happens.
It does. I'm not upset with it. I love that Giannis, and we brought this up mocking people saying Brett Favre, but Giannis always plays with heart. He never gives up on any play. So that's one thing that I'll always love about him, I think.
And we talked about it, what was it, 2 weeks ago, where I believe that Giannis is the best weak side shot blocker in the NBA.
That's Very possible.
Dude,
I mean,
he
especially when Brook is in there.
so quickly. He
Especially when Brook
recovers
is
so
in there, man.
quickly to play like the plays that are happening behind him.
I know it's crazy.
James, I don't want to jinx it, but the Predators have not lost in 2022 yet. They haven't. They won in overtime last night. So, question and answers here.
Okay.
2 questions I have to ask you. One is strictly about Giannis, and one is about Giannis and the rest of the team.
Okay.
So, question number 1. Do you feel, without looking it up, do you feel like Giannis is a better three-point shooter?
Yes.
Okay. I ask you this question because Giannis is shooting 28% on three-pointers this season, which is lower than he did the last 2 years.
I feel like he's taking. See, that's where numbers lie. This is where I get people.
I have one reason why I would answer yes to that question too, but I will.
I think he's taking better 3-point shots. He's not just hucking them up. Plus, like when this is kind of story time. When I'm with my stepson, right, and I see him shoot it, and his elbow's way out here, and he's doing all this weird stuff, I'm like, no, you gotta shoot it like this. Put your elbow in, put your knees like this, stand like this, and he'll struggle for a little bit, right? But I'm like, just get that motion down. And then he'll start making a few, and then he'll go back. And I'm like, nope, you got to keep that elbow in. You got to keep your feet like this. He's taking better shots, and he's getting that down, right? He's staying right here all day. That's why I think he's a better three-point shooter. I think in the long run, it'll benefit him better.
The other reason that I think, confidence.
Okay.
He's shooting the three with confidence. He's seen the ball go in at a couple, crucial times. He's made some dribble pull-up threes. So I feel that he's shooting the three-pointer with more confidence as well, and that's why it feels like he's shooting the three better, even though he's about 2% behind what he was the last 2 years.
Okay, what's the next one? I'm ready.
All right, so this question I'm going to start with asking it about Giannis, but it applies to the whole team. How do you feel about Giannis dribbling the basketball?
I think it gets him in trouble. I think that's when we get in trouble. I think the Bucks are better. Man, we've seen this so many times, and we just talked about the Nets, right? And me and you talked about it all playoffs, especially against the Nets. When they would get stagnant and they would go on their long droughts is when they would do all their one-on-one bullshit. I don't want to see that. I like the Bucks better when they're doing motions and handing the ball off and everybody's moving. And that's where, mainly – I think the person that gets in trouble the most that way is Middleton, because Middleton is a very big rhythm person, right?
And as far as comparisons go, comparing Jordan Ward to Chris Middleton, that is a parallel that they have, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think that Middleton plays much better in the flow of the game when he's running a play and he's running around a screen, or he gets the ball off an extra kick and then he'll make the three-pointer and you're like, yes, Chris, good shit.
So what I want to say is this is the whole team. This applies to everybody on the team outside of maybe Drew Holiday and George Hill, is you need to dribble with purpose.
Yep.
There's so much dribbling going on that just doesn't need to be happening. And it's like just guys dribbling the ball off their legs or, just getting their pockets picked. It's just so much unnecessary dribbling that if you can't accomplish what you need to do in 3 dribbles or less, pass the ball. That's how I'm feeling now. Because, Giannis, it doesn't take him 5 dribbles to get to the basket.
No.
It takes him 1 and 2 steps. Or
most of the time.
2 dribbles and 2 steps. Or even 1 dribble and a gather step and 2 steps, which is not a travel. People complain about that, but it's not a travel. Middleton, he does his dribble crossover. He doesn't need to do 7 dribbles for that. He can do 2 dribbles, a fake move, a between the legs crossover, and pull up. He doesn't need to dribble the ball for 15 seconds. It just doesn't. The turnovers is the issue that I keep having with the Bucks.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot, it's not bad passing that creates their turnovers. It's occasionally careless passing, but that's a far rarer issue than just turning the ball over by dribbling too much.
Dribbling definitely becomes an issue. I agree with that.
So that was my other question that I had to ask you about. Moving into the 2 Hornets games, are there anything you want to talk about with those games? It's awkward to talk about because the biggest issues in these games, we know why they were the biggest issues.
Well, I guess I'll break them down both real quick. Kind of what I saw. The first game, Giannis was the man. I mean, we saw that. When you have 40, 12, and 3, you're pretty much the shit, right? Middleton played well. Bobby played good. But the thing that happened in this game that I was telling everybody about, they were on the back end of a back-to-back. The young guys that are not used to that, their legs were not going to be there. Nwora struggled. 1 of 11
and
overall, 1 of 6 from 3. He struggled. His legs were not there all night. The Bucks were still close because, guys like Giannis and Middleton, like I said, they're veterans. They know how to prepare their body. They know how it's going to feel. They were able to perform under that. You come into the game on Monday. Giannis is still the man. Middleton played well. But the thing that really killed us, and Nwora had a bounce-back game. I wanted to give him credit after I said he played bad, but he played very well in the second one. Pat Connaughton, bad game. Dante DiVincenzo, bad game. They both were 2 of the worst players. And Terry Rozier just continues to haunt the Bucks. He had 28 in the first game. He had 27 in this next one. LaMelo Ball also had 23. Bridges had 17 and 11 in this last game. Just the lack of bench scoring really kind of hurt us. Lack of productive guard play kind of hurt us. I wanted to give a shout out to Giannis. He kills Charlotte. He has 109 points in 3 games for Charlotte this year. That's 36.3 points per game versus Charlotte. So if we see Charlotte and we have all of our pieces, Giannis is going to shit on them, is what I'm understanding.
Bucks in 5 if they play in the playoffs.
Yeah, the playoffs is just a whole different animal, whole different, and like you said before, we don't even have Budenholzer right now. So some things will be changing. Not that I have a problem, but it's just bench play.
And one thing I will say as far as the Budenholzer Darvin Ham thing goes is the Bucks kind of struggled running plays out of timeouts.
Yeah.
That is actually one of the things that Budenholzer is the best at in the NBA. I'm not making this up. That's a real statistic that out of timeouts, Budenholzer is one of the best.
I believe that.
And, not having Drew, George, Grayson, Dante, Pat, none of those guys against a team that runs a lot of their stuff through 2 guards. Like that'd be all right. That would be like playing. Let's see, what's a really run-heavy offense in the
49ers, the Browns.
Like Michigan State, like they're a really run-heavy offense. Okay. Like their running back's probably going to be like a 1 and 2, like first and second rounder. That's like them going up against the Badgers without any of our starting linebackers. Like what they do is going to succeed because we don't have the guys that prevent those things from working.
That's very true.
That's similar to just the Packers playing against the Lions. Like we saw what it looks like without Devondre Campbell in the middle. It's Oren Burks, and it sucks.
It's pretty bad.
Going against 2, like a really, really good guard combo in LaMelo Ball and Terry Rozier. And, LaMelo Ball being the really talented player and Rozier being the experienced guy without Drew Holiday. I don't understand why people are complaining so badly like we're not going to be a playoff contender because we're losing without starters.
Right.
I mean, and that's even without Pat Connaughton and Dante DiVincenzo. People just got to chill out. People got to step back with the Packers and the Bucks. Just step back and take a big picture approach here. The Bucks are in a similar position record-wise where they were last year at this time. And that last year's Bucks team didn't deal with nearly the absence that this year's Bucks team is dealing with. Not even close.
True.
Like Drew missed, I think, like 2 weeks last year at one point.
Yeah, with
being
COVID.
on the COVID list.
Nope.
I mean, Middleton wasn't out for 15 games last year. Giannis didn't miss a bunch of games in the middle of last season. They weren't without Brook Lopez for 2.5 months. Like, this is not the same. And meanwhile, they're still in a similar position they were record-wise. And they just beat the Nets on Friday night. Yeah, they played against a Hornets team they're an upstart team. They're exciting to watch. Yeah, it's fun getting dunks and stuff. They lost the second game by 4 points when Dante and Pat Connaughton shot 0 for 14.
Yeah, bad.
And the Bucks lost by 4 without Drew Holiday.
They'll be just fine.
The Bucks will be just fine.
Yeah.
So that's why I said I want to dig into some context here, and I just want to mention a couple things. The first game, you mentioned the young guys. The first game, the Hornets ran some zone, and there was one possession where Jordan Nwora was running the point, and he kind of just dribbled the ball, looked at Giannis. They didn't try to go high post at all, and then he passed to Mamu, and he shot a contested 3 with like 16 seconds on the shot clock. Like, that's a thing where, like, I would like to see Darvin Ham just take them both out of the game right there.
Yeah.
Like, that's just bad basketball.
And sit him down and be like, you can't do that.
That's, we're playing a zone defense. You beat a zone by moving the ball, not by dribbling for 15 seconds and then shooting a contested 3.
Yeah.
Chris Middleton has been a bright spot. In the last 4 games, he's really bouncing back nicely. The last 4 games, he's averaging 25, 7, and 7. So Chris Middleton is bouncing back. I had the goal for him to get to 50, 40, 90 before the All-Star break. So it is encouraging to see Chris Middleton bouncing back. I mean, we need Drew Holiday and Brook Lopez. That's basically where we're at. The floaters, that was something that not only LaMelo Ball talked about in his post-game stuff, but I've seen people asking it on Facebook, like, what are the Bucks going to do to contest floaters? That's Brook Lopez. Brook Lopez is the answer to that question. He blocks 2.5 shots a game, but he also contests those floaters. We talked about that when we talked about Demarcus Cousins. Contesting those floaters, just making them harder, making them not look like practice reps. That's what they need to do. Pat Connaughton, Dante DiVincenzo, give them a little bit of time. It might be ugly for a couple games, but just give them some time to get their legs back under them. Looking forward, tomorrow is a measuring stick game. It'd be nice to have some guys back. It sounds like Grayson Allen's going to be back. Budenholzer's trending in the right direction, was what was said today. Likely not going to have George Hill and Drew Holiday. So what I want to say is, if Curry goes nuts tomorrow night and say the Bucks lose by 10, please don't freak out. Please don't freak out. We're not going to have our top 2 point guards against a team with one of the best point guards in the league and an MVP candidate.
And now they're healthy.
I don't know if Draymond Green's going to play or not, but even that being said, they have Steph Curry and Klay Thompson, and we don't have Drew Holiday and George Hill.
I agree.
So, I mean, it'll be good for Grayson, Dante, and Pat to get some experience, because this is what's going to be like if they meet the Nets in the playoffs and they're playing against James Harden and Kyrie Irving. It's going to be a duo of shooting and dribbling. You need to be able to contain that. So it'll be good for them to get a little bit of extra experience. But don't freak out and crown the Golden State Warriors if they win this game, and say the Bucks are going to be one and done in the playoffs if they lose it. This is a game in mid-January where we're not healthy.
Yeah.
Just take a step back and consider big picture.
I think you worded it perfectly. I am looking forward to that game. It's going to be a good game. Curry versus Giannis is always exciting. You have a guy pulling up from 50 feet, and you have another guy who dunks on 50 people at one time. So that's just a great combo for an exciting game.
Takes 2 steps to go 50 feet.
It's crazy, bro.
After that, the Bucks play the Raptors again on Saturday. Yep. Maybe they can force Fred VanVleet to have a bad shooting game for once. It would be nice. And then Monday they play in Atlanta against an underachieving Hawks team.
On national television again.
It's really surprising what the Hawks are doing this year, and not in a good way.
Well, they changed the rules, and now you can't do all this little floppy stuff. And
Dude, I told you when they changed this rule, Trae Young was going to be the second most affected player by that. Because I told you during the Bucks Hawks series last year that Trae Young was reminding me of James Harden.
Yeah, he did all that little floppy extra stuff and
all the head jerking. Like, oh, that drives me insane.
That's hard to watch, man.
That and then in the finals, Devin Booker's chicken wing. That was the other thing. He was the guy that I said was going to be the third most affected by it.
I couldn't believe they let him get that thing even with his shoulder. Like, he had that sucker up here.
Dude, James Harden got that against the Bucks. Middleton got an and one called against him when Harden put his shoulder into Middleton. It's like, what is he doing? That's James Harden initiating that contact.
Right.
So even though that rule has changed, what they should have just named the James Harden rule, he's still up to like 11 free throws a game. He's not shooting 20 like he was with Houston, but he's still getting to the line.
Here's my question. I guess I'm going to pose a question to you.
Okay.
You know, usually in the playoffs, they usually ref a little differently. They let more contact go in the playoffs, right?
Yep.
Since they changed the rule and they've been reffing differently in the regular season, how physical is it going to get in the playoffs?
It's going to be great television.
It really is.
It's going to be awesome to watch. I like it because what it does is by blowing the whistle less, it makes it more about the players and less about the officiators. That's what the NBA needs. Honestly, the NFL needs a little bit of it too, but it's been, aside from a couple really bad things here and there, they're letting some stuff go. Like, I think it was like the middle of the third quarter before there was a flag in the Packers-Lions game the other day. So
yeah, that was a pretty clean game.
I appreciate that it becomes more about the players and less about the officiating. So I do like that. So I do appreciate that.
I'm trying to take my time and pace myself with this season because, like you said, it's middle of January. We're not going to see anything. I mean, I'm looking forward to that Bulls game. I hope we're going to have Holiday back for that. I think we will by the time that comes around. That's not till
next
21st,
Friday.
so that's 9 more days. So
next
he
Friday.
should be back by then. But, yeah, I'm really looking forward to that Bulls game. I hope we can just smack them around for a little bit to be like, yeah, we're still here, okay? Yeah. We still win this thing, okay?
Yeah. The East runs through Milwaukee.
I'm excited about that.
All right. Is there anything else you want to talk about with the Bucks?
Nah, man. I mean, our number one goal when we did our goals was just get healthy, and that's still ringing true.
Yeah, I'll have to check on the Bucks record when we get to the All-Star break, because we did a record goal. So we'll see how the Bucks do between now and the All-Star break. And then the other thing we have to pay attention to right now is keep an eye on trades.
Yep.
It's going to happen. For every comment I saw about saying, why didn't we cut Semi Ojeleye or Rodney Hood or Thanasis instead of Demarcus Cousins? Those guys' contracts are all guaranteed. That's why those guys weren't cut. And as far as the Semi Ojeleye hate goes, like, you got to calm down on it a little bit. I get he's shooting really poorly, but he played some tough defense in that Nets game, and he hasn't been healthy at all. He hasn't had any chance to find his role on this team.
Dude, it bothers me when people are so crazy on Ojeleye because you just brought up his defense, right? Nobody talked shit about PJ Tucker last year when he was shooting 1 of 9. You want to know why? He was locking people down.
Yeah.
We literally said it, in the beginning of the year. Semi Ojeleye is a Walmart version of PJ Tucker. He's got the same body size. He's strong, low to the ground, and he just prevents you from getting to the rim. That's really what his job is, getting easy layups, make him earn that shit. We're talking about
defense on KD in that Nets game.
Right, dude. We're not just going to let KD go crazy and do what he wants to do. We're going to force KD to move the ball. So
between Semi Ojeleye and Rodney Hood, it doesn't pay to cut them. You might as well hold on to them because you're paying them anyways.
Yeah.
Basically, you're going to hold on to them and see if they can contribute. If not, they won't play in the playoffs. If not, they'll be trade fillers to make money work. Like, they're not going to get cut just because they don't play well. It's unfortunate when they don't play well, but it's nice when they contribute anything. But those guys' contracts are guaranteed. They're not getting cut for no reason. Like I said, I think they're going to end up being trade filler to make money work. But if they continue playing poorly, they're just not going to play in the playoffs. It's just the reality of what it is. But they have to play now because we don't have guys healthy.
So you brought up that Bucks sent people to watch that Kings and Cavs game.
Yep.
What if they were interested in Jared Allen?
I would love if they were interested in Jared Allen. I'll go look right now to see what his contract is, but I would absolutely love that.
No, that's a guy that fits with the Bucks. It's not like he's going crazy spreading the floor or anything, but he protects the damn paint.
Yes, he does.
And at the end of the day, that's literally the only thing I care about.
I would say Kevin Love fits with the Bucks too, just because I think his shooting would fit in well.
Mm-hmm.
But let me look up Cavaliers. Jared Allen is making $20 million this year. I thought he was kind of up there in cap, but Kevin Love is too. Obviously, if Kevin Love were to be available, it'd have to be in buyout. But
that's kind of tough to get him then, huh?
It would have to be probably Brooke, Dante, Semi, and Rodney Hood, and Jordan Wara. It'd probably have to be like a 5-player package unless you're going to do Brooke Lopez, Dante, and George Hill. But they did just trade for Rondo to have another guard to go with
right.
Darius Garland, so they have Rondo there. I just don't think it's going to be Jared Allen. I think the Cavaliers kind of want to build around him because he's young. But if they were to find a way to pull that off, I would love that.
That'd be sick.
As far as trading for a young center goes, I do think Miles Turner is a better option. He's slightly more affordable, and I think he's more available is the thing there.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind seeing the Bucks try to grab Mitchell Robinson or Nerlens Noel from the Knicks because the Knicks are terrible, so they have all the reasons in the world to be sellers.
No, they're like on the fringe of the playoffs, so they're like,
yeah, we're gonna get in the play-in game as a 9 seed. Okay, cool.
Yeah,
have fun with that. Like if Nerlens Noel is pretty inexpensive, so having him as a stopgap until Brooke Lopez is back, and then just having him back up Brooke Lopez in the playoffs as a defensive center, I'm cool with that. So I'd be okay with the Bucks went and got Nerlens Noel. I think the Kings are starting to like Rashawn Holmes a little bit too much, so I don't think he's going to be a guy the Bucks can go for. So
Tristan Thompson, maybe.
Maybe, but I don't think he's ever really been that strong of a defender either.
He can rebound the damn ball.
He can rebound though.
Clean damn glass. He can block a shot here or there. He alters. He's good at altering shots.
Maybe JaVale McGee, but I think the Suns are probably going to want to keep their depth at the center position, especially the Bucks exposed DeAndre Ayton in the playoffs last year in the finals. So they're going to probably want to hold on to their center depth. I mean, I'm not sure where else you really look for a center.
John Horst will find it, man.
I think I would like to see Nerlens Noel. I think that would be a good fit for the Bucks.
What about Mo Bamba?
Mo Bamba would be a good one. I like that one.
What the hell? The Magic are literally the Detroit Lions of the NBA.
They are. They're getting some better play with their guards. Like Cole Anthony looks good, but
he's got a freaking play though, man. That guy never plays.
If we could steal Jonathan Isaac from the Magic, that'd be cool. I think they're probably a little bit higher. I think they're probably a little bit higher on him than they are on Mo Bamba, but that would be awesome if we could steal him from them if they had a bad GM moment.
They've had plenty of those. Like I said, they're like the Lions.
Yeah. I mean, maybe this is something we can talk about more in the future about some potential trade targets, but as far as availability and cost go, Miles Turner is probably still at the top of my list. And I think Nerlens Noel would, as far as an availability standpoint and a fit and cap go, I think Nerlens Noel is the other guy that I would want to consider.
I'm with that. I guess we'll have to see what Horst comes up with, man.
He's not going to stand still. We can guarantee you that. He's not standing
still. Definitely not.
All right. Anything else you want to talk about the Bucks?
Nah, man.
All right. This is probably the brightest spot we have to discuss about today is the Badgers basketball. So let's start with the Iowa game. And what did you see from the Badgers and Hawkeyes game?
Well, I saw some good basketball. I know that.
Two of the top scorers in the country in that game.
You did. Keegan Murray. Yeah, I wanted to give a shout out to him, man. That guy's a stud. He's only a sophomore, just like Johnny Davis.
Even though Iowa's not ranked, that's still a good win because you're playing against a very, very talented player in Keegan Murray.
Yes, and Wisconsin and Iowa games are always close. I know we led by 23 at one point in this game, but Iowa found a way to scratch and claw and get it to 9. But all 5 starters for the Badgers were in double digits. So, we talked about our goals, just like we did for the Bucks. We did that for the Badgers. And we talked about, finding that third star, getting better shots. I think they've really done both of those things. The third star has reappeared, and that is Tyler Wall. Tyler Wall has shown his face and remained aggressive while still being able to set up for others, which I really love.
Yes, yeah. He's playing the way that we hoped he could play when we did a primer for the Badgers.
Tyler Wall, I think I love Tyler Wall just like I love Pat Connaughton because I know what their abilities are and I know how important they are to the team. Like Pat Connaughton always finds a way to dive on the floor or grab a rebound when we need a rebound or he hits the three. Right. Tyler Wall's that guy, like he'll find a way to like play that really good defense or pass to the guy right at the right time or make the layup. Like those guys are so important to our team's success. So that's why I think I love them so much.
I fell in love with Tyler Wall during his 5-game stretch last season where he was just going crazy.
Right.
I think that's when I fell in love with Tyler Wall.
The thing that I really love from this game that does not involve scoring? I loved that Stephen Crowell and Tyler Wall were defending. I mean, and they were going against Keegan Murray. And I just said that kid is a stud. He's an absolute stud written all over him. They were defending without fouling for the first time, I think, all goddamn year. We just got out of the dang Purdue game where 3 guys, 2 of them were those 2. They just fouled out of that game. And then they each only had 2 fouls in this game going against one of the best scorers in the whole country, not just the Big Ten. So them defending without fouling is something that I really found impressive and that I wanted to key on that for this portion.
That's a really good thing to look at for this game. For me, we've talked about basketball being a game of runs, and this game absolutely embodied that.
Oh, yeah.
Like the Badgers went on like a 9-0 run, and then Iowa went on like an 8-0 run. This game really, really embodied the game of runs. One of the other things that Jake and I talked about is wanting to see other scoring contributions. We wanted to see the Badgers raise that 66 points a game. Now they're scoring in the 80s. I mean, the Maryland game, they only ended up scoring 70, but this game they scored 87?
87 to 78.
So the Badgers getting that scoring up. Jake already mentioned all 5 guys in double figures in the starting lineup, but Brad Davison, 6 for 11. Stephen Crowell, 6 for 8. Tyler Wall, 6 for 7. And then on top of that, Jonathan Davis led the team in points, rebounds, and assists in addition to all those guys contributing.
Yeah, monster.
So Johnny Davis at 26, 9, and 5. I mean, it's a good Badgers win right there to beat a conference opponent. And yeah, I mean, I can't really ask for anything more from the Badgers out of that game.
This is our only meeting with Iowa this year, so that was a good win for us. Iowa-Wisconsin games are always close. Football, basketball, it doesn't matter. They're always very competitive. We recruit the same people. I mean, we're all going for the same players. I mean, Iowa's been a pretty good school too. Let's be honest. They put a lot of people in the NFL. They put some people in the NBA from time to time. I mean, they just put Garza.
Garza, yep.
Looks pretty bad in the NBA right now, but he's still in the NBA. But, Iowa, Wisconsin, that's a pretty good rivalry, I think. A little underrated rivalry, in my opinion.
Sure. All right. So talking about a game that's really not a rivalry, but Badgers and Maryland. Maryland's only been in the Big Ten for a handful of years, but what did you see from the Badgers and Maryland game?
This was a nice, hard-fought Big Ten road win. This was definitely one of those where you go on the road and it was just,
it's like the Indiana game.
Yeah, like you're in a big-time conference because you're going against a team that's like not ranked and they're not super good, but you've got to fight and claw to get this win. The craziest part for me is that Johnny Davis wasn't our leading scorer in this game. Tyler Wall was our leading scorer in this game. He was the man all game. He played really, really well. After we won this game, pushed our win streak to 5. So that's very nice, very impressive. Took 2 things away. So in the Iowa game, we had 4 bench points. In the Maryland game, we had 7 bench points. That's still a cause for concern for me. If they could get some bench production, this team could really, really be something. I mean, you have the leader now for the Player of the Year award in Johnny Davis. You're getting contributions now from your other starters. I mean, we're scoring in the paint.
Crowell is coming along well.
He is. He actually hit a really, really big clutch 3 in this Maryland game. But the last thing that really is concerning me is we're still only averaging 10.7 assists per game. I would really like to get that up around, 14, 15. You start moving the ball a little bit more, get more people involved. Maybe that could help with the bench scoring as well. I don't know what has to be fixed there, but something.
So I'm going to talk about that. I'll come back to that. I do want to say Johnny Davis early in this game had a block, walked up, hit a 3. I mean, the 3-point shooting is coming along. Chucky Hepburn hit a 3 early in this game. Stephen Crowell hit 3s early and late. The Badgers need to work on playing against zone defense. I think Greg Gard should put a clinic on how to screen his own defense and then how to pass against his own defense just to keep the ball moving. They were doing well early in this game, forcing Maryland to one and dones, not giving up second chances. Davison was playing tough defense. That's what got them out to a big lead. The other thing that got them out to a big lead was getting paint touches. Greg Gard talked a lot about that in his post game, talking about they needed to keep getting the ball in the paint. They went away from that late in the first half and early in the second half, and that's what let their entire lead go away. There was so much dribbling, one-on-one, forcing shots. I mean, just contested shots, dribbling just to dribble. We just talked about that with the Bucks. We want to see guys dribbling with purpose. Jake just mentioned he wants to see the ball moving more. This is, I think, why they're so low in assists is because it's pass the ball into the paint, 5 dribbles with your back to the basket. If you don't get an open jump hook, ball goes back out to Johnny Davis or Brad Davison, and they try to get a shot one-on-one.
And I can't fault that because Johnny Davis has been so dang good this year. But eventually that might end up being our downfall when he's not making all those.
That's not a tournament-winning strategy, unfortunately.
Yeah, I agree.
That's how you lose a 5-12 matchup.
Yeah, which they're predicted to be a 5 seed right
now. So that's, as far as your wanting to see the assist numbers go up, I personally don't think it's going to happen because they want to get those paint touches. And it's not a necessarily a knock on the Badgers. It's just the way they play. Tyler Wall and Stephen Crowell are back to the basket guys. It's going to be a handful of dribbles. And then Tyler Wall, he's great with his footwork. He's great at pump faking to get guys off their feet. He's really good at using his shoulder to shield the ball, to get those shots up in the paint, and he's making them now. So he's had a really good stretch of games here. And that was his career high against Maryland. Just 21 points. That was his career high. So the Badgers, they're a back to the basket team. And if that doesn't work, then they're a lot of isolation with Johnny Davis and Brad Davison. Unfortunately, it's kind of their identity, and it's not sexy. It's not, but it's getting them wins at least. So, I mean, have that.
If I could take something away from that, at the very least, they're playing at a faster pace. So they're getting the ball up the floor and they're trying to get some early offense. So
getting more shots too is important.
It's not like last years prior to this where they're dribbling it up and they're throwing it in the paint and they're just kind of letting it happen. We're pushing the ball up the floor, seeing if we can get an easy layup or a good look at a 3-point shot.
Or Johnny Davis can yam on somebody.
Yeah, I mean, and if that doesn't work, then they pull it out. And then I like that we have an identity in the half-court offense. That's something that the Bucks have struggled with in the past.
So what I would like to see from the Badgers to this conversation, I'd like to see the Badgers run some pick and roll.
I would love that.
Because they're not going to be running any pick and pop, I can tell you that, because Tyler Wall still hasn't made a 3-pointer this season.
I know. He was 0 for 1 last game.
Stephen Crowell, he's okay. I mean, he can hit a 3 here and there, so I guess I'm not opposed to Stephen Crowell running some pick and pop. But it's a pick and roll. You have guys you want to get the ball to in the paint. You run a pick and roll with Johnny Davis, both defenders are going with Johnny Davis. Nobody's leaving Johnny Davis by himself. And if they are, you're getting scored on. So that, running some pick and roll with Tyler Wall and Stephen Crowell could get them some open looks. I'd like to see that. I'd like to see some pick and roll from the Badgers.
And that's something that could easily put the assist numbers way through the roof, man.
That's a yes.
Easily. Other than that, man, I mean, the Badgers, they play good defense this year. Iowa scored 78, but I mean, holding Maryland to 69, it's good. That's a good number. Keep that. You keep teams around that at 65, 69 area. Yeah, I'm not trying to make a joke.
You said it. You were like,
it was not intended.
You said that. You're like, oh, it's 69. That's a good number. You said it.
It's not intended. I really meant that. It is a good number, though. I love that number. But anyways, 69, 65. You keep teams around that.
David Bakhtiari, that's why we like it.
You really, really give yourself a chance to win a lot of basketball games, especially with a guy like Johnny Davis who can just literally go crazy for 37.
And that's the thing. You just mentioned the 78 that the Iowa scored. Keegan Murray is 27 points of that. So that's a third of those points coming from one guy.
That guy is a stud. You know, it's a good segue because I really wanted to say this today. The Big Ten is just littered with monster talent.
Big Ten is loaded this year.
Johnny Davis leading the way. He's on our team. Thank God for that. Keegan Murray, we've talked about him a bunch. The guy's a monster. The next game we play, we play Ohio State. EJ Liddell. That guy is just
EJ Liddell. He is
a freak.
Monster.
And then you go over to Indiana, and they got Tracy Jackson Davis. That guy's no slouch. I mean, there's just ultra talent all over. And a lot of them are big men. They're all 6'9" and above, except for Johnny Davis is the guard.
And next week, the Badgers play Michigan State. I think it's next Thursday or next Friday, who are currently ranked 10th in the country. Yeah, they're currently ranked 10th in the country.
And we all know that Michigan State has been a basketball school for however long, my entire life at least. And they just get talent. So we know they're going to have talent. They're obviously number 10 in the country, like Tyler said. Smushed in between the Ohio State and the Michigan State game next Friday. They play Northwestern on Tuesday. After Michigan State, I believe it is Nebraska. So if they could get through these three games right here.
It might be Northwestern, then Nebraska, and then Michigan State.
Let me check.
All right.
Let me check.
But, in that, actually right before the Badgers started the Maryland game the other day, Northwestern and Ohio State went down to the wire. So that was, Northwestern played Ohio State tough. So they're going to play the Badgers tough, similar to what Jake was saying with the Badgers in Iowa. The Badgers in Northwestern, that's going to be a tough game. It's going to be that's one of those trap games, where if the Badgers shoot poorly, Northwestern's going to want to come out and beat a team that's now number 13 in the country. I said before this happened, after the Badgers beat Maryland, before the rankings came out, Jake was saying that the Bucks or the Badgers are going to be due for a big jump in the rankings. I said 15, and Jake's like, wow, that would be crazy. And they jumped up to 13. Obviously, that Purdue win is a big signature win. And now, tomorrow night, we're going to find out if the Badgers are the real deal or not. It's not to say that if the Badgers lose tomorrow night that they're done and they have no chance to do anything else. But looking at like the Maui Invitational, the Badgers have shown they can beat tough teams. Looking at Purdue, that's a top 5 opponent. That's a signature win on your season right there.
Tough place to play.
I guarantee you when we did record predictions in the preseason, we did our primer. I guarantee you I had that one pegged as an L.
Yeah,
and the Badgers
100%.
won that game.
Yep.
So I'd like to see the Badgers continue to play up to their competition and not play down to it when it comes to that Northwestern game.
Yep. And the Nebraska game is after Michigan State. It's the following Tuesday. And then the next game after that is until the next Sunday, and they play Minnesota. So Minnesota's got 10 wins right now. They're kind of weird, but
kind of fluky, whatever.
Yeah. Anyways, I mean, they play Ohio State. Ohio State's real. They got one of the best players in the country.
We got 2 measuring stick games coming tomorrow.
And then
the Badgers and the Bucks.
Yeah, that's going to be – I'm kind of pissed off, honestly. Because, today – okay, so usually Wednesdays, it's my favorite day of the week because I do this, and I love doing this. My best friend, I get to talk sports for a couple hours, get away from the family, just be myself. And then after, I give my girlfriend her time, and we watch this show on MTV. And now, I always had to like miss. No, we used to watch The Challenge, but The Challenge is an awesome show.
You can be honest if you watch Jersey Shore. I won't hold it against you.
No. My girlfriend knows. She watches every reality TV show of all time, and I'll come in. I'll be like, "Who the hell are these people?" They're like, "Oh, it's just whatever." I always had to like record Bucks games or watch them later on my Bally Sports app on my phone, And then because they were playing at the same time, at 7 o'clock when my show was going. And now that the show is finally over, now there's no damn Bucks games on Wednesdays. Come on, man. This is BS. Now they're going to be playing on national TV all the time, but it is what it is. I'm just upset that they're at the same time, too. Like, they're both at, 6 o'clock.
Yeah, I think the Badgers play at 6 and the Bucks are at, 6:30, which is surprising that they're playing the Warriors and they're starting at 6:30. That's usually, a magic start time.
Yeah, I know. I don't know. It is what it is. I'll play one on my phone and one on the TV, and then I'll try to focus on both of them and get cross-eyed, and then I'll get pied cross-eyed next week, I guess.
All right. I mean, is there anything else you want to throw out there this week? I mean, we don't have any Packers preview this week, so we won't have any Packers recap next week, but we'll have a preview next week, so we got that going for us. But definitely some measuring stick games coming up in the basketball world for Wisconsin.
Yeah, let's just get the Bucks healthy. Hopefully they can, get a win on national TV against the Warriors, kind of hush the haters a little bit. That would be nice. Kind of like what they did with the Nets game, then they lost 2 in a row. But it'd be nice to get things on track again, maybe win 3 out of 4 or something weird like that. Get back to winning ways. Hopefully the Badgers can continue winning. If they win the next 3 games and they beat Ohio State, they beat Northwestern, they beat Michigan State, this team is going to be
top 10. They will be top 10 for sure.
They will be damn close to top 5, and I will go out there and I'll say that live.
If the Badgers win the next 3, which would be through next Friday, that'd be Saturday, Sunday. The rankings usually come out on Mondays. I would say the Badgers will be 7th.
They'll be damn close to top 5 though, and that would be crazy to think about. Then you start getting expectations, and then real pressure starts to come in. We'll really find some stuff out, but. Playing Ohio State tomorrow, so hopefully they can get a win. And next week, I think we're going to talk a little bit more about playoffs because we'll probably see some crazy stuff this week. The first ever Monday Night Football playoff game doesn't sit well with me. I don't like that at all, to be honest with you.
Really?
I mean, you're in the playoffs.
I'm okay with it.
I mean, you're in the playoffs. You don't want to, now they get, I guess it doesn't really affect them because they either get one less day or one more day. They'll probably play on Sunday either way.
It's similar to playing on a Saturday. It's playing on a Monday and then a Sunday. They'll make it so that there's 6 days in between.
Oh man, look at James, man. I don't know, the bucket list. I got 2 things. 2 things off the top of my head. I've always wanted to go to a Packers road game in Chicago and a Packers road game in Minnesota. I love being a villain for some reason.
I did that once in Chicago. James will appreciate this. I went to a Predators Blackhawks game in Chicago. So everything there is red, white, and black, and I got a bright yellow PK Subban jersey on.
That's pretty fire, actually.
It was kind of cool. It was weird because, the Predators won the game 2-1. So the 2 goals that the Predators scored, it's silent in the arena. Obviously, there's no horns going off. And it's me and 8 other people in the arena, standing up, yeah, I see you 2 sections over. I see you. It's cool. It's fun. It was Jan said Tyler was officially awesome. It should have been declared already, but I mean, the people around us were pretty cool. So, I mean, it's as bad as some Chicago fans can be in person. They were pretty cool. So, I'd say if you went to a Packers Bears game in Chicago, it should be a good experience. For me, I would like to sit courtside at a Bucks game. I would say that's a sports bucket list thing for me. I'd like to be courtside at a Bucks game. This is a really, really specific thing that I'd really have to be in a certain position to play or to be in play for. But I'd like to catch a walk-off home run ball. That would be sweet. If I were the person that caught Daniel Vogelbach's grand slam walk-off ball, that would be number 1 sports moment of the life for me.
I know both of our number 1. I know both of our real number 1. Both of our number 1 bucket list is to make this our job to talk sports.
That's a really good one.
That is both of our number 1. My number 1, I don't want to have to wake up in the morning and be like, man, my body's going to hurt today. I like waking up on Wednesdays, my favorite day, because, I said I get to talk sports with my best friend. I want to wake up every day and just have to watch sports, and that's my freaking job because I do that for free right now.
Hey, we got to thank Parker Johns. Parker Johns sponsored the show, so they're helping us out. Help us make a dream a reality. We just got to keep that going and graduate.
Yeah, that would be nice.
I mean, we're no Pat McAfee show getting 3-year, $120 million deals with FanDuel, but I mean, we're starting off somewhere.
They also had a platform starting off, so
and a former NFL player, and a whole
bunch of other NFL players, coming on there, So, I mean, maybe someday we'll get there. I don't know, and maybe by the time we get there, we'll be as old as Pat McAfee. He's got some years on us, so we'll see what happens, man.
Yeah, he's in his early 40s, and we're in our late 20s, so
yeah, we'll see what happens, man. We got plenty of time.
The Wisco Fanatics page is just about
1 year old.
Just about a year old, yeah. So,
in Atlanta and go to Superdome for a game. Oh yeah, you never been to a home game for the Saints, huh? Let me tell you, man. Being at a home game, and I'm not trying to down you or anything, but Lambeau being literally one of the most famous stadiums in the entire world, I'd literally feel like a god wearing a Rodgers jersey and watching Aaron Rodgers throw touchdowns to Devontae Adams. There's literally nothing more.
That's a cool bucket list thing. This is more of a wish list than a bucket list, but I'd love to see the Packers do like a four crown, not like a triple crown, like a quadruple crown of Rodgers winning the MVP, LaFleur winning Coach of the Year, Goody winning GM of the Year, and a Super Bowl. If the Packers could pull off all four of those things in one season, that would be nuts.
That would probably be considered the greatest season of all time. Clean sweep, dude.
I mean,
clean sweep.
The only other thing that I could consider better than that is going undefeated into the Super Bowl.
But
a quadruple crown of MVP, Coach of the Year, GM of the Year, and a Super Bowl. That'd be nuts.
Crazy. That would be nuts. I agree with that. With that being said, man, I got nothing else. Those were good questions, James. That's probably something we could probably cook up another good list. Have some people send in theirs as well. I like that you told us yours. That's definitely something we can look forward to. Maybe since I could ask my kid, you can ask your kids, and we can kind of make a collective
Lily
family.
Is dying to get back on the show to talk about the Brewers. Like, she's so excited because she loves talking about going to the Brewers games. So she's really excited to come back on the show and talk about going to Brewers games.
Hey, Brewers preview, bring her on, man. Seriously, bring her on. We'll talk. Hey, what are you looking forward to the most for the Brewers?
They love the hot dog races.
Oh,
like, they love the sausage race. I know. How can you not? I mean, the Nationals even copied it and started a president's race.
For real, dude. If you're not from Wisconsin, you've never been to a Brewer game, you're gonna come on here.
What the hell is a sausage race? I don't get it.
They're racing fucking meats over there. What's going on in Wisconsin?
Just Google it, but be careful which link you click on.
And don't click our link over here with Love Face. I don't know what's going on over there.
Yeah, it's YouTube spam, whatever. Just trying to drive up our comment numbers or whatever. But the sausage race, every game at the Brewers, they have the sausage race, the racing sausages. That's probably Lily's favorite thing. They like the fireworks that go off, so they enjoy that. But yeah, Lily's excited to get back and talk about it. They like seeing Bernie go down the slide. Me too, because that means the Brewers hit home runs.
That means, that's an exciting time. That's the first thing I pointed out to my stepson when we had a home run.
I am not exaggerating. Every single time I turn on a sports game, Lily and Layla ask me if they're playing in Wisconsin because they want to see the mascots.
Really?
like if I turn a Bucks game on, they're like, are they at the Bucks place? Is Bango there? Are they at the Badgers place? Is Bucky the Badger there?
That's funny, man. When I went to New York City to watch the Red Sox Yankees.
James said Yankees fans are a-holes. That does not surprise me.
Is the sky blue?
Yankees fans think that every team's best player is theirs for the taking if they offer us 4 players we've never heard of.
Or they'll just buy them, which is the dumbest thing about baseball. I'm so sick and tired of that shit.
They literally, I saw people saying the Yankees could probably get Yelich from the Brewers for like 3 prospects because they want to get out of his contract. No, knock it off. They were acting like Willy Adames is going to be available in trades. They're like, they just traded for Willy Adames. They're probably willing to trade him.
No, I love Willie.
No, it's not like he just came on, like finished like 8th in MVP voting after coming here in the end of May and helped us like turn the season around and was one of our best players last year. But yeah, I'm sure the Yankees could get him for 2 prospects and Luke Voit. Like,
yeah.
Like, do you people think before you put this stuff on Twitter?
No, they're the Yankees, so they think they run the baseball
Yeah, it's
world.
Yankees fan. And Mets fans are almost as bad because they think everybody that's ever been to New York or set foot in New York wants to come play for the Mets because they've been to New York. Like, they've thought for years that they're going to get David Stearns because he's from New York. Okay, cool story, bro. Like, that doesn't mean that he's going to come be the GM for the Mets. Like, it's ridiculous. Between Yankees fans thinking they can trade for every single player and Mets fans for thinking that every player that's ever put a pinky toe in New York wants to play there. I don't know. New York fans are a little weird.
I actually just had this discussion, so this kind of makes sense that we're having this discussion. But I was talking with another vendor the other day, and we were talking about which side of the country sports do you hate more, East Coast or West Coast? I said easily East Coast. Easy. Not even a thought for me.
Yeah.
East Coast, I hate more. I hate East Coast way more. You got the New York people over there.
Yeah. You got
Philadelphia, Boston. Can't
Patriots,
stand any of it.
Yeah.
Can't
Patriots
stand any
fans
of it.
are bad.
I mean,
Patriots
the only
fans
thing
are bad.
over in the West is LA. That's the only bad part.
And even LA, like, I don't hate all of LA. Like, I don't hate the Angels. Like, I'm actually cool with the Angels. I like Shohei Ohtani. He's cool. I like Mike Trout. I hate the Dodgers.
I also
hate about LA. I don't like the Lakers. Like, I like some of the stuff that they've done over there. Like, as far as free agency goes, I think Malik Monk signing with the Lakers was a great deal. Great deal.
Yep.
I just don't care for the Lakers as a team. I don't dislike any of their players. I think Frank Vogel's a solid coach. That it is what it is. I don't hate Anthony Davis. He's not better than Giannis, but it is what it is. I hate the Dodgers.
Oh, I hate the Dodgers as well.
But as far as the West Coast is concerned, I don't hate the Portland Trailblazers. I don't hate the Seattle Mariners. I don't like the Seahawks, but that's just because they think that their team is good and it really is terrible. But as far as East Coast, West Coast is definitely harder.
No, it's not even close. It's really not even close. Dude, Philly, garbage city. I mean, Florida is on the East Coast technically, unless you want to count it in the South. I'm just cutting it in thirds, right? And Florida, terrible, garbage people. New York is the absolute worst. Boston's not far behind. They all talk like freaking idiots over there anyways. I mean, I hate it all. All the East Coast, nope, garbage. Don't want to see it. The Knicks,
Washington is okay, but that's just because they don't have anything to cheer for.
Dude, we literally had this discussion about the Knicks, right? They put the Knicks on national television once a freaking week, and I got to watch that garbage. I don't want to fucking watch the Knicks anymore. I'm sick and tired of it. They freaking suck.
Julius Randle has taken
Sorry, James. They put the Celtics on national TV 45 times a year. I don't want to watch the Celtics that much.
They have 2 good players to watch. Like I did see a potential trade package that the Bucks could put together for Marcus Smart, and I'm on board with that.
I love Marcus Smart. He's one of those players that you hate to play against, love on your team. That's exactly what he is. But I'm sorry, I don't want to watch the Celtics that much. I just don't.
And not every player that has a big contract is going to go to the Yankees for a handful of peanuts and one player.
And why are we not watching Ja Morant more? You know what I'm saying? Or Phoenix is starting to get on there a bunch now, but there's a bunch. I feel like Portland doesn't get on there anymore.
Damian Lillard's taken a step back this year.
He is, but I've enjoyed watching Damian Lillard. I mean, the Timberwolves have been kind of exciting this year, kind of up and down. They never get on TV. I mean, D'Angelo Russell's kind of fun to watch, and Karl Anthony Towns is one of the most talented big men in the league. We don't get to watch them.
Coming along.
Anthony, dude, that guy jumps out of the building, and it's just they could put other teams on there.
I don't want to watch the Knicks.
I don't want to watch the Knicks, and I'm so sick and tired of watching Jason Tatum shoot 40 shots.
1 out of every 10 games that the Knicks have a good game is a game where Julius Randle shoots 1 for 7 and Evan Fournier shoots 1 for 10, and they both have 8 turnovers.
Oh my god, dude!
It's not fun to watch. And RJ Barrett He is so overrated. He's better than he was last year, but RJ Barrett is so overrated. And then he hit one
he's in New
game
York.
winner that he banked in. Like he's not going to be a star. I would take Cam Reddish over RJ Barrett in a heartbeat.
Oh yeah.
I don't understand it.
And John Morant's not even really getting a lot of the MVP buzz that he should be getting, in my opinion.
Especially with them on a 10-game win streak now.
Dude, imagine John Morant in New York. Oh my God, he'd be the leading candidate right now.
He'd probably be top 5 in jersey sales.
Oh, easily. He would have been that last year and the year before too. I mean, the guy's a monster. But I mean, my point being is you could put other teams on national television. Doesn't have to be the Knicks or the Celtics or the freaking Lakers. Like, I love LeBron, but I don't need to watch LeBron 50 times a year. I'm sorry, I don't. Just mix it up, man. Mix it up.
Honestly, the power in the NBA has shifted from the West to the East. The East is better than the West, top to bottom.
You think so?
Yes.
Well, I'd agree with that.
The Cleveland Cavaliers were a basement-dwelling team since LeBron left, and they're the 6th seed in the East right now.
I know. They've actually been pretty impressive.
As far as Atlanta goes, they're underachieving, but they were in the Eastern Conference Finals last year.
They were.
I get there's a lot of players in the West that are hurt. Like Luka's missed a bunch of time. Kawhi still hasn't played this year. Jamal Murray and Michael Porter Jr. are out for Denver. Lillard has taken a step back. Timberwolves, they can be fun to watch at times, but they're still not contenders. I mean, Phoenix and Golden State are really the only things that are exciting in the East or in the West right now. Now you shift over to the East, and the Bulls, despite what I think that they're pretenders, but they have a good record. They're, DeRozan's hit some game winners, which makes them exciting to watch. Obviously, the Bucks are defending champs. The Nets are the Nets. They have KD. I mean, you can go down the heat of the Heat, the Hornets, the Wizards overachieving,
Sixers,
Cleveland overachieving. The Sixers, what are they going to do with Ben Simmons? The East, I think, is better than the West.
And a lot of shit going on, yeah. I definitely agree with that. I hate East Coast. I thought, and he was telling me West Coast. I was like, bro, you going crazy. You doing too much, man. I mean, maybe if Vegas starts getting more, like if they get an NBA team, and I could see Vegas being kind of annoying. I won't lie.
I could see them being kind of drunk and annoying, but maybe just wanting to have a good time. So I guess there's potential for that to go.
But you're just like, it's my uncle. He's just drunk all the time.
I put $500 on Vegas to win this game, even though they're minus 50.
Oh shit, man! All right, man.
All right, you got anything else?
Nah, man. Let's go hang out with the families.
Yeah, go Bucks, go Badgers. Get some big wins tomorrow night.
Yes, sir.
All right. See you next week.
Later, buddy.